Welcome to the PrizePicks NA Revival Series number 7. I am JRT, joined by Paladin this time. Paladin, how you doing today?
I'm excited to be here, man. I mean, I've really enjoyed what Complexity has done with the NA Revival Cup and just being back to see all these new rosters in full effect. And I always feel like we get the highest level of competition because all the best North American teams are here, and seeing them kind of biff and brawl for those VRS points these days. I think it's going to create an exciting weekend of games.
Yeah, no question. And I think we'll check out the schedule right now, or at least check out all the teams, the bracket, whatever Rob throws up on screen. We'll talk about here. But yeah, no, I mean we've got wild card coming in. Stan's just been batted back to the roster, which
Yeah.
was a bit of a shocker. And yeah, we're gonna see the teams here. Talked about wild card first, and the first team there, which is perfect. I don't know how you feel about it. I think it makes sense having Stan back in, even though we don't know if it's permanent or not. But they needed an IGL, and it was a very glaring hole when Stan was dropped from the squad. So I don't know. I thought initially Suss would be the player removed for peeping, and that would be the only change they would make. But we've seen this ridiculous amounts of stuff go through here. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's very clear that there's not like really a plan that
Yeah.
that wild card have at this point, and
Yeah.
we're just all kind of along the ride with them. And all that being said, I'm just excited that Stan is back into this project again.
agree.
He's done a lot of great work to get them to this point in the first place, and I think him alongside Peeping is an exciting pairing that I think will benefit for the org and for Stan moving forward. That I hope that becomes a more long-term partnership. And I mean, you look at the rest of the bracket, and there's a lot to love, man. I mean, Blue Jays boss feels like a bit of a grudge match. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of news from Fragadelphia and the way that the personas on both of these teams have interacted, and none of the separation from some of these players off the rosters was amicable. So seeing that kind of like in server is going to be very interesting to me. And I think the surprise for me is getting info has it feels like they're really turning the corner, and they've improved a lot with the moves that they've made. So how do they factor in with the hierarchy of North America? That'll be very interesting to me.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's basically ex Timberman kind of with Marquee and Slump, right? So it's
Yeah.
kind of that squad. But I agree with you. I think it's looking better and better as time goes on for that roster. And I mean, it's only good for North America to have more competitive rosters for sure. And then Supernova Comets is also going to be interesting to see what they can do. All female squad coming in, and I mean, they did really well in Impact, finished second in season 7, and then season 6 won it all. So it's a team that I've watched a few times already, Paladin, and other events, and they have performed really well. Their biggest problem has been closing out. They get these nice leads, they get, into the action pretty effectively, but they cannot close out the maps for the life of them, honestly. So hopefully
Yeah.
that'll change as time goes on.
I mean, you got to commend their improvement season on season. It just feels like
Absolutely,
they're
yeah.
making those baby steps to get into these competitive situations. And I think you just give them a little bit of time, and maybe the chips will fall in their favor rather than the other way around. And I mean, you look at our matchup that we've got today, M80 Regain. A lot on the line for M80. I feel like as far as this tournament is concerned, I mean, a lot of VRS points to be had. And I think it is unacceptable if they get anything below winning the title here. I think that
Yeah.
level of pressure in these kinds of tournaments, it kind of changes things for the way a team is supposed to approach it, I feel like. And that makes me excited for all intents and purposes, I'll say it for the semis and for the finals, because I do feel like they'll cruise through this quarter. But when I look towards those more meaningful matchups in the semis and finals, I think those matchups will be very interesting for me.
Yeah, and let's jump right into the Prize Picks analyst segment here and talk about the players on this M80 squad. I do want to say, though, Paladin, that I think Wildcard could also be in the conversation of teams that could give trouble to M80 and taking that title. But because they've had so many changes lately, I do agree with you that M80 are the expected team to come out with the win here. Anyway, speaking about the players here, ones to watch, which ones do you have your eye on?
I mean, honestly, I've really liked the uptick in how Swisher has been performing recently. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the news and the interviews of the conversations that they've had about his performance and whether or not he was going to be on the team in the next season. And he's already shown up, I feel like. I think he's already shown up in how he's performed at Fragadelphia or the frag that we recently had as well. And I don't know. I don't mind taking the more kills in this circumstance for Swisher. 29.5 does seem a little steep, but I feel like he's really improved in that regard as of recent, that I would buy into that aspect of his improvement and then that hot streak that he's on right now.
No, I agree with you. I think Swisher's been incredible, and it's good to see because he had a very rough slump going for a few months,
Yeah.
honestly, where he couldn't find his rhythm, and it was just kind of puzzling. But obviously, he was feeling the pressure as well, and you could tell from his interviews, like he didn't even think he was going to be on the team anymore after this. But they've given him another shot, and I mean, he's going to make the most of it, and already has with the play that he's shown. I would say the other two I have my on are always the same two, Sin and Slacks. Slacks in particular has been super effective for the squad and always brings that opping presence that you need. He's very dynamic in the way he opts. Absolutely is a player that can drop 30 frags, I would say, over two maps. It's not wouldn't be unusual, I would say, if that happens. And Sin on the other side, a shot caller that can frag, which is a luxury right now in Counter-Strike 2. It's usually the players we're seeing, a little bit of a slip in terms of performance for IGLs because there's so much to think about in Counter-Strike in general, but Sin hasn't really dropped in his performance at all. I think he's been very strong, and yeah, that's my feeling on that.
Well, I think in the other aspect of M80 that you have to think about is Hexed, right? And what
Yeah,
he's
of
going to
course.
bring to the server. And I think that if you really want to take some serious risks, I think taking a flyer on what Hexed has to offer, headshots as well, a guy that's first bullet accuracy is fantastic. If you really want to take a risk, I think more headshots could be an angle to take in the future because he's
Yeah.
got the ability to do it, and you can see it. It's pretty hot as of right now. That I completely understand where people are coming from. The aspect of that is definitely a possibility.
No, I agree. I think Hex, it's a little more difficult to see him getting. Sometimes he doesn't get that many frags. He's anchoring, right? So it's a
Right?
tougher
Yeah.
position to hold, and you don't always get the frags. But definitely in terms of headshots, he's very accurate. His mechanical skills very high, and he's got that clutch potential. So yeah, I agree with you there, Paladin. Let's switch gears now and talk about regain. And I mean, we're gonna see the numbers, the estimates are a little lower here. And I think
Hmm.
because of the fact that M80 feels like they're in a different league compared to Regain, who made it here through the open qualifier. They're a team that's been here, I believe, before. It might have been last year in the first Revival series that Regain made it and played against M80 and lost very decisively, unfortunately for them. But yeah, I mean, look, these names are not as familiar for a lot of people. Are there any that stand out to you here, Paladin?
I mean, Zucker, I mean, this guy has been around for quite some time, and I've definitely seen his steady improvement. I really like what he has on offer,
I agree.
and I think Regain in general as a concept, I've just really liked their improvement. Again, I think Mix has done a lot of good work in terms of developing these guys. Very similar to Detonate as of recent, and you'll see a lot of those ex Detonate players in this tournament now. So I think you've got to give credit where credit is due and say that Josh has done a good job in developing these guys. And Zucker is a guy that I kind of like. It's always tough to actually give more as a slip option, just because of I look at the kills and it's pretty high. I mean, you're gonna have to keep this competitive, which is really the issue, and that's my main worry, I'd say, John.
Yeah, no, it's difficult. I think for every single player here, it's going to be difficult to kind of get meet expectations, I would say, and meet the estimates. Maybe if yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Halen perhaps. I mean, he's usually a player that can drop some frags, so that's
Hmm.
something there. The 23.5 estimate. But at the same time, it's going to be difficult for all of these players to come through and come through with these numbers, just based on the fact that this could be a very one-sided series. Obviously, we're hoping it won't be, and that Regan can show their stuff and compete on the same level as M80. But the reality of it is they're an advanced level team who are going to be competing in ECL next season because they qualified for that, but they don't have the reps. They don't have the experience they need in order to, I would say, consistently succeed there. But hey, you never know. The only way I would say, okay, maybe they've got a chance is if M80 were in the form they were 2 months ago, where I felt like they were struggling a little bit, things weren't clicking, and they weren't winning the matches as cleanly as the ones like this, where they should have won them cleanly. Now, though, you looked at their results of Fragadelphia and everything they did. They made it to those grand finals up against a Polish. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting their name now. The Polish team that
Koleshi, I think is how you pronounce it.
was it. Well,
That could be it.
sure.
But yeah, I'm completely
Yeah.
with you. I think that once that result happened, it feels like they're finally a little bit more confident in themselves as a 5-man unit. You can already see Hex getting very used to his
Yeah, yeah,
surroundings a
yeah.
little bit more, getting his bearings a little bit more. That now I feel like we're already progressing past that shaky water M80 that we were seeing a couple of months ago, and now I think you can fully expect them to be that dominant team within North America again. And I think the biggest thing for me is when I look at Overpass in the map pool, they've already played that a couple of times. They've already gotten the reps in the belt to kind of strike fear into the underdog
Yeah.
and say that, look, we've already shown a little bit of cohesion on this map. We can hang around here.
Yeah, they're tempting the other teams to pick it, right? Like they're saying, look, we're going to leave it in there,
Hmm.
but if you want to pick it, go for it. But we're going to beat you probably. So it's just they're ready for it. And I mean, it makes sense because a lot of those players have been around for a while. They've played Overpass. They were around when Overpass was still in the pool. So even if it was back in CS:GO or even in the early points of CS2, they know how to perform on that map. So it doesn't surprise me to see them kind of working it in there and keeping it as an option in the pool. But yeah, you look at the results, not only Philadelphia, but also the EPL qualifiers. They qualified for Pro League with that win over Getting Info. Every single map, except for the one series against Getting Info, where they lost Dust 2 and Anubis. Outside of that, they looked phenomenal. There wasn't really a weakness that we could point to in that series, in that qualifier, I should say. So I'm honestly looking at M80, like you were at the beginning, like you said, as a team to take it all here in PrizePicks NA Revival Series number 7. Looks like we're still waiting for everyone to get going here. Do we have the veto? I think we might have the veto.
Would
Veto?
love to see that because I think
Perhaps.
it'll be very interesting to see what Regain want to do with it, right? Because as I mentioned before, Nuke is actually a permaban that they share. I didn't mention this, but they do share that
Yes.
permaban, and I like the boldness from Regain to leave it open. And M80 Sin, they don't want to get themselves involved with this at all. They play it safe, and I think rightfully so. They should be playing it safe. The interesting part, though, is them actually going into Overpass. I mean, if I'm a
Yeah.
favorite, I wouldn't necessarily want to pick into that. But hey, if you want to kind of
I
incite
mean,
more fear to some further opponents, by all means.
they got one of their main picks already where Regain got Ancient,
That's
right?
true.
So
You
it's
you
like,
did get
hey,
Ancient, right?
we got Ancient. And if you look after that, it usually would be Dust 2, but Dust 2 is not available because, like you said, Nuke was the ban for both teams. So Regain rightfully bans Dust 2 to try and get that out of the way. And Nuke as well is obviously going to be banned by M80. So I do appreciate that Overpass pick. They're flawless on it so far. 2-0, and I think it was against Chicken Coop, one of them with a 13-4 win, and then against Colsey. I'm going to say Colsey because it's just easier. It was
It's
13-9
fine,
win.
man. We're not in Poland. We're in
Yeah.
North America. That's totally fine.
Yeah, 13-9 win there against a tough top 50, like top 50 European team that they were playing in Philadelphia, which is crazy. And they went to the fifth map in a BO5. It was an exciting series that they played at Philadelphia. But on Overpass, it did find that win, so it makes sense to me. And if we need it, we'll go to Inferno. I feel like no matter which way you slice it, this is a veto that favors M80. It feels like they get 2 picks as well.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt, right? Even if they go to one of their weaker maps, you would still favor them pound for pound individually. I think for M80, it's a very interesting conundrum after Anubis was removed when you think about how dominant Sin was as a caller on that map and how
Yeah.
how stellar some of their individuals were on that map. I mean, you think about all the players that they had. Mobs at one point, Lake joining in, Swisher as well, Rek having his moments. It's just been a map that really suited them. And so now when you remove that, the question is what map takes that void? And they're taking it perfectly in stride straight away and saying, let's just adopt Overpass straight away and make it our Anubis replacement 1-for-1. And obviously, I don't think we've seen truly the biggest test for them. I think Koleshi was a good one, but I still think that with Overpass being early in the pool, there were still some growing pains for both teams. So I think later on in the tournament, it'll be very curious to see whether they want to commit to this style of committing to Overpass as that mainstay map, or whether or not there's a team out there getting info, a wild card that is there to punish them later on.
I mean, all I can say is I'm looking forward to seeing Overpass. It'll be the first time I'm casting it
Yeah,
since it was
yeah.
removed from the pool, so I want more Overpass. It was my favorite map, honestly, in terms of strategies. You can see there's so much open space on Overpass to get it on flanks. Like the CTs can end up on the opposite side of the map pretty quickly,
Hmm.
and the same for the Ts. So you're kind of just swapping sides sometimes, and the flanks and everything that can materialize are really fun to watch. So I think it's going to be, with the changes that were made, even better than it was before. And we can talk about the changes on site A, right? We got a couple of minutes here. So I think the one that stands out the most to me, Paladin, is Dicebox, right? Because they opened up one of the
Hmm.
doors, so you can't really see from bank, I believe, in towards oh my god.
Like left side flower
Yeah, in
pots, you'd
towards
say.
exactly left
Yeah,
side
yeah,
flower
yeah.
pots. Yeah, exactly. So you
Hmm.
can't really see any more through there. So it gives the T's a little bit more space to maneuver, and you don't have to smoke off as much. You can kind of dedicate your smokes more towards the other side of the site. So it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of these changes are generally helping the T's in a way. I mean, obviously having less potency for the AWP will obviously benefit the offense.
Yeah.
I am very curious to see how the operas fare in that sort of setting, because if your options are limited, how do you adapt in that circumstance to still keep it as an operas map? That'll be something that I think Slacks has definitely worked on
Oh
over
yeah,
time.
yeah.
He's definitely a guy that looks at the demos, who does the review to get to this point. And I'll be curious to see what Regain have up their sleeves, because this is still a perfect environment for them to test the waters with something that hasn't been seen before, or something that was done in a European tier 2, tier 3 game that they could potentially adapt into their own game. There's a lot of options here to potentially surprise M80. And even with this flawless overpass win rate that they have right now, we're still in uncharted territory. These changes could have unforeseen consequences that I think that Regain can use to their advantage. Obviously, there's so much to overcome in a matchup like this, but you got to take your little wins where you can get them. And I think that's what's going to be very curious to me moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you that opping will be a little bit different in terms of the approach here on Overpass, but I still think obviously it's an Opper's map. There's so many long range engagements that you can take. You still have Heaven there towards the B site, and you also have Long A that is always going to have an op on it, or almost always going to have one posted up somewhere. So I think that, and the way Slacks plays, like he's very mobile, so I don't really think it's going to impact him too much, that he's going to have to move around a little bit more when you're playing towards bank or when you're having to readjust from a long A position. But that's map number 2. We got map number 1. Good old Ancient is coming in here. It has not been removed from the pool, and I hope it doesn't get removed anytime soon. Maybe Inferno Mirage should be next, is my opinion. But we won't get into that. We're jumping into things. Pistol round underway.
Man, I'm just so happy we get all the cams and everything. We've got a
Yeah.
fantastic production behind us. This is going to be an
Where's
exciting,
Halen?
exciting weekend of games. And yeah, where is Halen?
Get your
We'll see
cam
where
on, Halen.
commit to the bit, man. And it's a straight up B commitment here from Regain. Straight into Swisher's dual Berettas. And he doesn't get anything here, John. It's actually Sin chiming in with a quick double. And Slacks through the smoke, giving a man advantage into this post plant.
All right. Dark and Sasha still remain here for the Regain squad. Zukar, player we talked about a lot in the opening moments of this pre-game show, is certainly one to watch out for, but he's dead. He's gone. Dark, oh, does manage to line up Slacks, but he's the last one standing. Hex looking for that last one, and he will find it. 2K for Hex. M80 are on the board first.
Yeah, nice little bait and switch setup. Obviously, you have a player short taking the second contact after Swisher chimes in from that cubby angle. And it works out splendidly for them. Those are the kinds of situations in 2v3 for Regain, though, that you want to convert. You want to find a way to get the ball rolling, the momentum into your favor straight away. And unfortunately for them, they can't convert it. The player ramp doesn't find one even after the cave player takes contact, and that becomes their demise. And that all being said, you still got Mac 10s out on the table. If you want something a little pacier, try to take that 8 control, cut down some distance, you can. And they've got a little bit of utility to back them up as well. So we'll see what Fuzenko and co can do in this kind of circumstance.
Hex waiting with the Incendiary here. It's going to be 3 Mac 10s, make that 4, and a Tech 9. Oh, they're just going to run through the Incendiary. Can't really blame them because it's still not that strong, even though it blooms a little faster now. We'll get towards that site. This should lead to a plant, and yeah, well, plant. No, Sasha pulls off of it. Sasha, you gotta plant it. I think he meant to, and he just pulled off a little too early. There you go. Bomb planted now. 5v5 post plant. Don't see that very often. As M80 are looking to work their way back in here.
A couple of smokes available to at least cordon off some angles, but Temple A main crossfire, this can get a little dangerous here. Flashes have to be placed well, and they're in, John.
They are in. I mean, this is such great space. Regain's giving them way too much room to maneuver. I know they're trying to wait back and be patient. Sasha's going to get one. Halen with the nade onto Lake, and hold on a second. I'm going to have to eat my words here, because that's a great hold by Regain. Sin, the last one standing, just trying to fade off here. Zukar and Halen going to go down to the bomb. And actually, no, Zukar survives. Halen is the one to drop, and so is Sin. 1-1 tie. I was criticizing them, Paladin. I said they were too passive. I was wrong. I'll admit that, because they did quite well with the utility they had at their disposal. And of course, taking care of business with those MAC 10s.
Yeah, I really liked how M80 approached it, right? You have two smokes left in that situation. Yeah. You drop one on the bomb, you drop one to cordon off one angle, and they did their job there. But I think it's just the response from Regain, all pouncing, converging on that bomb smoke, and it completely catches M80 off guard. There's so many different spots to clear, and nobody on the CT side can get a favorable trade their way. It's got to be a force back for the CTs, and it's just a 1-for-1 with Sin taking considerable damage.
That's a tough one. I mean, look, Sin wanted that to be a lot cleaner, and it wasn't. MP9 nerf maybe coming into play there, although from close range it's not really that much of a difference, just the mid to long range fights that end up being a little more troubling. Oh, Zukar definitely spotted Sin, so he knows he's there, but is he doing that intentionally? I don't know. Slack's gonna get one from Covey. I'm pretty sure that wasn't intentional. Slack's gonna get two, looking for the third. He's doing it all with the Deagle. Doesn't need a rifle nor an SMG to pop off here up against Regain. 3v1 just like that. Off of that 2K from Slacks, and then Swisher will end it with the MP9. There you go. The force buy works.
I actually think that one little play there from Sin,
do you think that
unintentionally,
was intentional? Or it had to be unintentional, right? It had to be unintentional.
I don't know, because you have no idea if there's actually a gap in there. And with how big that gap was, he should be dead to rights, to be completely honest, if a player was watching that angle. So a truly unfortunate circumstance for Regain, but hey, for Slacks, he'll be grinning from ear to ear to get a double on that. The flash from Lake also supports well from the donut end. And back and forth we go. This is the kind of high octane CS you want to kickstart a weekend of some exciting games down the pipeline. And Regain want to keep up this tempo, John. They want to go straight into this B bomb site.
Yeah, going for the force as well, which I guess I understand because the economy of M80 is still a little bit vulnerable. Swisher waits in cave. He's in a lot of trouble. He's got no support here. Gets one, but only one. Zukar trades him out immediately. That's another rifle for Regain to get as they go towards that bomb site. They plant it immediately onto B. M80 on the back foot here as they look for the retake.
Host plants have been a little dicey. We go to a side where it gets a little bit more difficult. Player stuck on the back of that pillar. Dark holding on for as long as possible, but hits the deck. The flank is brewing from Lake as well, so there's a timer on this for Regain, but the taps are good. Slacks and Lake chime in. It's just Halen left up in the 1v3, and the double swing is there. M80 chime in for a third, and it feels as though we've weathered the storm if you're an M80 fan, and Regain now must bend the knee. They must take the eco.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, they'll definitely upgrade their pistols here, but I'd be surprised. Halen had the armor. It's like, let's go again. No, Halen, you got to take it easy. No reason to overspend here. Need to get that eco through so you can get a proper buy up against an M80 squad that's starting to find their footing. 3 A1Ss, the A4, and the Galil saved over by Hex. Running that. Lake that gets that early util thrown towards mid, but M80 don't really aggress into mid as much as you would expect a team to on Ancient. They usually do commit a little bit more manpower in that direction, but I guess they're realizing that they're up against the pistols, so they don't have to be doing anything too crazy.
Yeah, no key map control for M80 altogether. I mean, no space in lane as well. Swisher playing further back in Jag. So a lot of respect given to these pistols or a potential force buy. I mean, you have no idea what Regain want to throw at you in this circumstance. So just trying to be safe rather than sorry. It's okay to give up a bomb plant knowing that a buy is coming out in the next. And with that, Regain with no utility will likely just contact out the A main side. Put Hext a little bit hot under the collar, but this is a chance for him to get a bit more confidence for himself. Lines up a couple here. Spray is good. Oh, wow. And he'll get himself a quick quad to make himself 6-2 in the first 5 rounds of play.
Had to look a little too easy to Hext, using that larger magazine in the Galil. 35 rounds available. To great effect. Didn't even need all of them. 4-1 for M80. Here come the AKs. The first proper buy-up for Regain coming through in round number 6. Didn't have enough for the AWP. We still haven't seen it on their side, nor have we seen it on M80 side, to be fair. Because they're just running along and using these rifles as long as possible until they're forced to buy up again. Hex getting aggressive into A main. Let's see if it pays off. It doesn't. Oh. He gets fragged, but he does a lot of damage here, Paladin.
And now automatically it's all onto Lake. And tried to pull the trigger right after the flash pops in his face, and that's to his own demise. Halen finds another one through the smoke, or I guess Switcher charging through the smoke, and that's it. They pull the ripcord. Wow. They say goodbye, and I think there's a number of small mistakes that happened there. First of all, Hex not being able to get one, unfortunate circumstance for him, and Lake pulling the trigger just a little bit earlier than intended. Instead of potentially just trying to duel in the 4v5, I guess being a bit bolder. When you look at the team that you're playing up against, maybe you have a little bit more of that confidence to go for a big play like that, but Regain forcing them to sit and think for a little bit now.
Yeah, and didn't lose a single body either, so they're going to build up a nice little bank for themselves. I'm surprised no one dies there. I mean, look at the health bars. You thought that someone was going to fall through the spam or the smoke or anything, but no. All 5 make it out of the round. M80 get a couple of rifles there, and now we're going to see the op for sure. You think? There we go. Slack's going to have the AWP. We're going to have that full buy-up. We can't forget that it was a Galil instead of being an M4 or maybe an AK upgrade for Hex. So now he has the A1S, and we'll see what M80 can do with Slacks activated on the big green. Smoke going to get tossed immediately here for Red Room. Hex has already passed it. There's that aggression I was talking about into mid. Hex already looking around, seeing what he can find, sees the smoke, and decides that the best course of action is just to fade off. Nice nades in the early part of the round there by M80 towards ramp, so they do a little bit of damage to Hale and Sasha as the smoke blooms out of the hands of Sin.
Late mid crunch on the way now for Regain. Take late control, take mid control. This is what you want to see as far as a T default is concerned. And again, M80, even with the guns on the other end, are a bit more passive. Very reliant on their actual sight holds to work out. And finally, the aggression is pulled through. Sin finding that opening kill. And still sticks around into that bucket position to try and sow some seeds of doubt, and he'll find another kill until Fuzenko trades it, but the damage is already done, the information already garnered. 45 seconds left on the clock, and Regain are sent spiraling in the mid-round, unknown as to where they want to end up, but I fear it has to be this B bomb site.
Yeah, this double cave setup is really dangerous unless Zukar does that. Gets Swisher down, but he takes a lot of damage. That's an easy swing for Lake to finish off the job. Slack swings around himself with the AWP, and it's all up to Dark. It's a wicked shot onto Slacks. He knows there's a player over in cave, so maybe faking the bomb plant? No, he commits to it. Spam isn't good, so Dark does get that bomb planted, and now the pressure is on for M80, but Hex jumps up the ramp, says, "See ya later, Dark," and gets the defusal afterwards.
Yeah, wonderful work there from Sin in particular to start things off, pushing the envelope down the lane side. And then I think it's very bold to stick around and stay in bucket like that, but the second kill basically confirms the round. It basically tells everything that M80 needs to know. They double down on the cave position, trade out effectively there. And these setups are looking mighty fine. Very difficult for Regain to break through, even if they get a 1-for-1 trade. Something that you might favor the T's, but that's just the chemistry that's been building for M80 for years now. That there's just that potential. There's always that potential for the trade frag behind.
This aggression from Lake. We wanted it. We've got it. Lake's gonna get one. Hex, two on the other side, and it's all M80 in this round. Didn't see where Hex was getting that from. Looking at the radar, looks like it was into mid. Yeah, he just pushed up mid. So two players getting aggressive, doing some fantastic work, and Dark is dead. He's dead. Hex already saw him. Dark has no idea. Yeah, pulls out the knife thinking no one's around, but Hex delivers the shot to the dome. A 3K on the round, 6-2 in favor of M80.
And I think Def and Sin are going to have their hands full trying to figure out what the best way to harness the most out of Hex. And as you can see in the first 8 rounds of play, it's when he's let off the leash. It's when he's given the key to the kingdom and say, go at it. Just brawl as much as possible. And when he's given the setup, as you can see, those first bullet shots are looking so splendid on our screen so far. 10-3 to start things off. Already 140 DAR. So Regate say, screw the A bomb site, screw mid, let's charge into the B bomb site, see what we can get done. And they get all the way to the back of Cube, and they get a couple kills to spare as well. But here comes Swisher chiming in on the other end. Slacks arrives at the scene as well. Blink and you miss it, and it's all up to Fazenko in the 1v3.
Yeah, that's a great recovery there from Swisher and Lake. Honestly, Lake in particular with 2 frags, and there's Hex again, lurking in the shadows. Fazenko can't even plant the bomb this time. Hex will find it from ramp once more, and it will be 7 rounds on the board for M80. A little bit of a doubt, perhaps, at the beginning of that round if M80 could pull it off, but like I said, very quick to react and adjust.
And key to note here, I mean, you look at the ends of these B rounds, always hexed up lane. Always hexed up the ramp, finding a way to get a flank kill. And for Regain, it's like, that's going to also sow some doubts in your mind as to where Hex is going to be at all positions. He's pushed up into heaven, he's pushed down lane, he's pushed the spawn, he's pushed A main, he's pushed donut. It's a headache to deal with when Hex is on his A game. And that is just going to make Regain's life in this T side a living nightmare, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, it must be frustrating having the A anchor towards the B side onto ramp, right? Like, it's just, so difficult for Regain to adjust to. But they must. They want to have a chance of winning here. Lake, oh, nice run boost. Gets over towards that Molotov very quickly, and he's into the smoke. Sukar's not going to expect this at all. It's just too quick. We'll see what if Lake decides to activate here. And in the meantime, Swisher's already out of cave. Does he get anything here? I don't know if he saw them. Well, if he did, it doesn't really matter because Sin's dead. And so is Hexed. Swisher, what are you going to do here? Need something magical. There's one. Spams through the smoke, and he can't deny the bomb plant and will lose his life. It's up to Lake and Slacks here, and now only Lake.
What do you do in this situation? I mean, Lake is going to continue to cut them down one by one. He's still got a boatload of utility if he wants to deploy smoke on the bomb. 1v2, he knows that player in mid is going to be encroaching sooner rather than later, and he's heard basically all of these players and where they're at. And look at that clear from Lake. He'll find another. Picks up a nade, picks up a Molotov as well, and now he can just stick this one. He's got it. You gotta think the spam is just off the mark, and M80 will continue their winning ways. Lake with the 1-on-3. I mean, he's looking around, looking for a gun, and still, M80 will chime in. Everything firing on all cylinders here for the CT side.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy, honestly, that he wins that 1v4. Regain, no excuses. They should have won that round hands down, and just can't do it. Just can't get it done. Lake too strong there, and I mean, he had the perfect reads, played it exactly as you need to in that situation, isolates the cave player, and just throws an aid towards long B and says, okay, I'm sticking to the fusel, and it works out well for him. Slack's going to get the opener here with AWP. The AK's barreling down in his direction. Needs to be careful, of course. He's got Lake supporting him. The flashbangs are fantastic, but not good enough to stop Lake, and then Slacks recovers. Swisher threw a beautiful flashbang to counter the util that Regain was throwing their way, and Zukar's now the last one standing. He does get one onto Swisher, but won't get any more than that. Slacks with the op 3K.
Swisher with the MVP flashbang, man. I mean that's the B anchor throwing a flash for the A players to succeed. Obviously, you still got to give credit to Slacks and Lake both there to find the necessary kills, but still, I mean, just beautiful cohesion there. And I hate to say it, but around like the late clutch, those are the types of rounds that lose you the map straight up. And I'm not talking about necessarily the score line, but it's just the mentality and the backbreaking confidence that the M80 side gets. And Regain will still stay unrelenting though. Sasha charges through the lane, they still get mid control, they trade out 4-on-4. But look at this, man. Swisher going ahead of his own cave util. Sasha spamming away, but still manages to find Swisher, and that's huge. That gives a little bit of an opportunity for Regain here, as Sin hits the deck as well.
Look, you got to win this now. You blew the 4v1. You got a 4v2 here. Slack's still in the vicinity. Dodges the util enough, and then gets that shot off onto Sasha. Can he barrel? If he did another one in the barrel, he can't. He will eventually get traded out by Fizenko. Now it's up to Hex. He's very good in these clutch situations, so I wouldn't count him out at all, especially with Halen being low. Hext, what do you got? Gets the flare, gets the frag, not the follow-up. The opportunity was there, but Regain finally convert and get a third on the board.
I mean, better late than never, but at this point, M80 just, every move that they've been making so far oozes confidence and oozes that suggestion that these guys are heavy favorites in this matchup. And to be honest, it's going to get even worse now that they can set the tempo. You look towards Hex, you look towards Lake, you look at these guys and say, they've got the opportunity now to just run rampant across Ancient. And we'll see what Sin has in store so far. It's a smoke double flash for the captain. And 4 sets of armor as they go bounding over to this B bomb site.
140 on the clock. Fizenko is getting aggressive, but they're waiting exactly for this RM80 Swisher. Ooh, misses the shot, but he's got support on the other side. Fizenko's gone. Swisher swings around to finish off Halen, and Hex takes care of Dark. I mean, this is just a very clean execute towards the B site. Zukar and Sasha are trying to get back in here, but not a single bullet nor damage, bit of damage has connected with M80. Will that change before the round ends? Sasha? It does. He gets a frag, but that's all he'll find as Slacks cleans up the last two. 10-3 for M80.
It's got to be so frustrating for Regain when you go up against such an aggressive CT side. And what do M80 do in their initial pistol? Just hold. They just sit at the top of the lane, they sit at the top of the T doors, and they wait for Regain to come beckoning into their own arms. And credit to Swisher there playing anti, not actually falling towards that flashbang. I mean, I believe all the T's on that other side of the door was not hit by that flashbang.
No, they weren't.
And that netted basically the round for them. Easy pickings down the ramp. Regain will take a full save, sit all the way in the back of the B bomb site. And M80 should rack themselves up that 11th round.
I'm surprised.
Talk about nightmare fuel.
Yeah, I'm surprised Regain go for the full eco here. I mean, you're down 10-3. You need rounds. Probably would have better to try to gamble and force buy, but they decide against it. You stack the wrong site, and now they realize the error of their ways. Maybe they can get back in here and find something. Fizenko does have that 5-7, but he won't be anywhere nearby. Sasha eats a nade, and now he's trapped in the smoke. He does manage to survive and fade off, but that won't last very long. So takes care of that. And Regain with absolutely nothing to lose, run right into the barrel of Hex, and he's going to farm away for the SMG money. $600 a pop, $2,400 total earned by him there, and an 11-3 scoreline for M8 to celebrate.
Well, hey, the risk for taking more kills for Hex would have definitely worked out this time around. I mean, he has been farming in this series so far.
Crazy, yeah. What was his
So we're already at
total?
that. It's got to be like 25 or
yeah,
28 or something like that.
I'm not sure. We'll have to double check that, but I mean, it feels like he is outperforming our expectations by a lot. This is wild. And I mean, Hex has looked good since joining this M80 roster. He's had performances like this before, so it's not necessarily a surprise. It's just usually not what you're going to see. He just ends up being really active in his anchor position. He doesn't hold the sights and just wait there. He moves around. He gets into the faces of Regain.
He's a very different player to that of Rek. I mean, my fears came for him as an anchor because he is very feast or famine in a way, but you can already see the benefits of having a player this aggressive in a game like CS2. You can get very in the face of your opponent, and he'll continue to do that here. This time it's Lake, though. Quick double for him. This retake doesn't look like it was ever going to get off the ground for Regain as Slacks nails Sasha to the wall. And they'll still give a little bit of a look in here between Halen and Dark. There's no hit involved though, and that's really going to make matters worse. That's all the guns gone, and M80 knocking on the door for a quick dominating map number 1.
I mean, aside from some early, let's say, shakiness from M80, I don't even know if I want to call it that. Yeah, they've looked pretty strong. There were a couple of rounds where Regain managed to pierce through the defenses there when they were on their tier T side, but overall M80 were comfortable. And now here in the second half, they haven't lost a single round and may not, because Regain, that was their rifle buy-up. Now they're forcing up to get SMGs. They have a decent chunk of util, but it's MP9s for everyone, which I don't know if it's necessarily a good call anymore. I feel like the MP7 has its place now, given that it's better from mid-range. And of course, even the UMP could factor into a buy-up at some points. But anyway, they are going for close-range fights, so maybe this will work out. It doesn't.
Oh, no, not at all. Sin just completely dominates Halen there. Sasha now, without his trusty partner, has to back away. And with that, World is M80's oyster. Another kill given over to Hext. And there's no trade potential from Zucker as well. And they realize that he's the only one on this end. They could just go bounding into this A bomb site, but they stay reserved. And that might be to their own demise. The rest of the Regain members are here, but this should be the round-winning play from Swisher. Feeling out this B bomb site and not hearing a peep. All the space garnered gives all the room back over to the T side, and you still have pesky Sin to deal with here in middle. He'll find himself a quick double. Should be able to potentially close this one out, as Dark has to go charging up a creek with no paddle, as Hex will end the series, or not the series, the map with 21 kills. But I mean, with that scoreline, you could say that it was a potential, series scoreline there for him. 140 DAR is nothing to scoff at, John.
No, not at all. I mean, look, that was a very effective map of play for Hext. I think everyone did pretty well there for the M80 squad. Regain struggled, but we kind of expected it up against an M80 squad that's really found their rhythm. They got the reps they needed on LAN, and now they're coming here and taking care of business against the teams that we kind of expect them to win against. Still, there's another map of play. The biggest problem I would say here, Paladin, is that Regain, this is their pick. They picked into Ancient expecting to do a lot better than that, and they don't. Now they go to Overpass where they have no reps on it, no officials played on it versus M80, who have already been prepping to play that map and did already twice in just the last couple of weeks. So we're going to see how close everyone is to their estimated frag totals now. And Hex, actually, okay, 29.5, but still 21 frags. He's only, 10 away from hitting that, or excuse me, 9 away from hitting the frag estimated total there. 140 DAR, which you already kind of mentioned, and Lake behind him at 113. That's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything that you ask for if you're Sin, right? I mean, you didn't really have to do much in this game. Your other anchor and Swisher really wasn't tested when your Opera and your rotating player have everything on lockdown, creating crossfires out of thin air. So everything basically working according to plan for M80 and for Regain. I admired the risk-taking of going into a strength of a map like Ancient, knowing that there is so much tape to have about for this M80 side, but unfortunately for them, it was just a well-oiled machine on that end. You didn't have the pop-up performances that you were potentially hoping for Zucker. Still trying to chase after that 23.5 kill mark, and you'll still have a bit of time to do it, considering they will also start, I assume, on the CT side moving forward on Overpass, but still very difficult circumstance for Regain when I can't really say too many silver linings for them after everything is said and done.
It's tough to find any, to be honest. Maybe Halen, doing pretty well for himself and performing, but he needs Zukar. He needed him to support as well, and that didn't happen. Anyway, look, we're going to take a quick break, guys, but when we come back, we will have map 2 of Overpass right here for you. Welcome back to the PrizePicks NA Revival Series number 7. I am JRT, joined by Paladin once more. We're getting ready for map number 2 between Regain and M80. We're going to overpass here, Paladin. We already talked about it before. We feel like M80 should have an edge. Is there anything Regain can do here to get some sort of momentum going their way?
I think you got to get Dark activated on the AWP. I mean, we talked about Zukar. We didn't talk too much about Dark, frankly, because there wasn't an AWP used as much as there should have been for Regain on that CT side. And I mean, obviously they didn't have much runway to really work with. So who can really blame them in that situation? But now we move over to Overpass, and you know, we always talk about the AWP. It's very synonymous with this map. So you have to get them going as soon as possible. Get it out in round number 3 if you have to, round number 4, and start to really force M80 to go deep into the playbook. Force them to turn the pages as much as possible and push them to that B and C game once things get tough, if you can get that AWP out early.
Yeah, and I mean, you get to start on the favorite side, the CT side. I mean, if you can get pistol under your belt, then you can quickly find that AWP and start utilizing it as best as possible. One thing that hasn't changed for Overpass on CT side is the rotations are still very quick from A site to B site. So you can have the op posted up towards A and be into heaven within like 5 seconds or less, right? So you can just get on over to that site and support as needed. So absolutely Dark is going to be critical. I think Slacks already looks really comfortable on this map. I think he is going to be a player to watch out for, especially once they get over onto that CT side for M80. The question becomes, how many rounds can Regain get on their CT side to make a fight of it in that second half? Because we didn't see nearly enough on that first map.
Yeah, it's going to be a real tell. I mean, I wonder how much preparation you could do if you Regain. When you think about the veto in general, how much were you potentially expecting Overpass in a veto like this, considering Dust 2? Or, I mean, I guess Dust 2 was off the table initially, but you think about Inferno, you think about even Train, M80 are okay with going towards that direction. I think Inferno is probably the more obvious selection there for M80. But yeah, just the fact that Overpass is in this veto altogether this early, I am very curious to know how much that preparation actually comes into play here for a team like Regain, and whether or not they've got any secret boosts up their sleeves, whether they've got some pieces of utility that they can potentially utilize. Obviously on the CT side, a little bit more difficult to throw something new out into the world. I think for the most part, CS has kind of understood how to play that side of the map. It's the T side that I think if you've got a good IGL and if you've got some good little pieces of utility here and there, things can get shaken up, but will they have the runway when they do flip over to that side is the real question.
Yeah, I think that the toughest thing as well on T side is there's multiple choke points, especially to get to that A site, right? You have to worry about connector, then you have to worry about bathrooms, and then you have to worry about getting towards the A site. And also, if you go towards long, that's another story. So and I think a lot of teams are tempted to go in towards long because, yes, you still have bathrooms to worry about or long bathrooms to worry about. But at the same time, it's a little bit more space to maneuver yourselves around, whereas getting crunched between bathrooms and connector can be a lot more lethal if your utility's not on point. But we are getting into the action here. Regain, am I reading this right? Regain starting on T side? No, this can't be. No, that our scoreboard's wrong. Regain is starting on CT side, and it is M80 on T side as we expected.
Straight dry run out long side for M80. 4 players here. And just a commitment from Regain in terms of the rotation. 3 players bounding themselves up, and Dark finding an instant headshot on the Slacks. That makes matters a little bit more interesting here for the T side. Self boost available there for the captain, and he sees nothing. But they're still going to continue on this approach here. Smoke to come in and a flash to follow, but how can these CTs deal with this?
Oh no, we'll see. Zukar gonna get that headshot on towards Lake, but Swisher and Sin answer back immediately.
What?
3 frags go their way. It looked great for Regain, a 5v3 that just melts away completely. Now Fuzenko and Halen both in the same angle at Bank, trying to work their way out. Their footsteps are heard. Sin is there, so is everyone else, and they will take care of business. M80, even when there's a glimmer of hope for Regain, they snatch it away and put out that light.
Yeah, the read there from Regain was fantastic. I mean, maybe they must have pushed short or Monster there to get a bit of information to make that rotation through. Maybe a sound cue up onto that bathroom end, but all that being said, it didn't matter at all. One flashbang used, one smoke used, and give it up to Swisher and Sin to crack open that A bomb site. And one more full eco from Regain. 3 for 3 go M80 in the pistols, and you can't even hang your hat on that if you're the underdog of Regain here.
Yeah, usually the underdogs do have that better chance coming out with those pistol rounds. I don't want to say better chance, but that's your best chance of getting a round victory in these types of affairs is on pistol, and then you can build off of that and maybe get something going once the rifles are out. But when you're not getting even that, it just makes life a lot more difficult. Nice smoke there into the bathrooms. Sasha waiting over at short A. Swisher sees the smoke, themselves, jumps around the corner, flashbangs out. Yeah, there they come. They try to activate, and M80's waiting there like a firing squad, and they take care of business. 2-0.
Easy as you'd like. Keeping 5 men alive, racking up that cash on the SMGs definitely doesn't hurt. And now with this 2-0 start, they'll hold on to these guns, give themselves a little bit of a bonus situation, want to keep that momentum rolling. When you've got these MAC-10s, try to deploy them. Try to get that short control as early as possible. If you want to do a B-pop, these are all good options, great options. Cutting down the space over on connector, these are also great spots to use that MAC-10. And that's what Lake's going to do. Charging up straight away with Swisher. And instantly, door control is huge for this T side at a minute 35.
This is pretty aggressive here from Regain. We'll see if M80 are going to realize that as they come out of Playground. Sasha's waiting. Oh my goodness. Out into Con. M80 might need to readjust here. Fuzenko decides to take the initiative, wins the fight into Playground. Sin rattles off a couple of shots towards Fountain, but eventually will just grab this bomb and go to B because they've seen so many players there that B has to be more lightly defended. It absolutely is. But as mentioned, rotations are fast here on Overpass for the CTs, and they're already going to have players in position to strike.
Yeah, but the problem is that they were so committed to Fountain that you didn't have that instant rotation to come through. It was just Halen on the back of the bomb site, and he gets caught out on a jiggle. Lake now cuts the distance with this MAC-10, lines up 2 gray screen players, and Zucker from the heavens does nab one back, but the damage is already done. A1S scooped up, and Regain have to back away. I admire that forward pressure from the CT side, but they show a little too much skin.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. Like, it's a really nice setup, and M80 were kind of walking into it, but they did show too much. Fuzenko swinging around, I don't mind that, but then afterwards, they don't really adjust off of that play because I think they have to try and fall back and put themselves in a position to try and ensure that frag comes through as another peek is in, and I don't think it does. Sin manages to recover. He retreats, grabs the bomb, and then rotates around to that B site, which, I mean, by the time they're going in that direction, they already know that at least 3 players from Regain are committed towards an aggressive play in towards Fountain. So 3-0 in favor of M80. But this is the type of stuff, you know, you can appreciate from Overpass because it's such a big map, right? There's so much space to take that you sometimes need to take some of those risks on CD side where you're getting aggressive in one direction. The problem is if it's read by the Ts, then they can just go the opposite way, as we saw.
On a map like Overpass, I also think that your extremity players are put on notice on both ends. You think about the anchor of Halen being pushed away. They're trying to stay alive, still trying to do damage, struggled there. And even on the T side, sometimes, you know, if you've got a lurk that goes the right way, you can completely open up the map, as you saw with all that short control being split into by Swisher. So really got to look towards even those more supportive elements on a map like Overpass. That's how strategic and tactical this map can get. You really have to cross your T's, dot your I's on pretty much every bit of this map.
No question. That's something Slacks has been doing. We talked about him being good here on Overpass. He's got 31 frags in 2 maps of play, plus 14 kill to death differential, 1.25 impact, and 1.35 rating. I believe he leads the team in those stats, as you would expect of an opper here on Overpass. As we go on, PrizePicks waiting here towards the A site. Dark gets the opener onto Lake, which has been happening fairly consistently for Regan. It's just that follow-up isn't there. Finally, they get a 5v3 off of the lone rifle, and now a 5v2. Zukar up close and personal with a 5-7. They've got to win this one. They've got to get it, and it will be down to Slacks with said AWP. In a 1v3, he doesn't have the bomb and doesn't have the time. Regain will indeed win their first.
Yeah, a couple of pesky pistols surrounding the bathroom position, cordoning off these players, but it's Dark to be the hero here. Finding a way to weasel in some peeks here and there. Hard to do when you're kind of pushed into a corner like that, but every timing working out splendidly and utilizing said timings to his advantage. Difficult to pull off, I feel like, in a circumstance like that.
Yeah, sorry, I have to correct myself on those stats. I had a brain fart there, Paladin. It's actually Lake and Swisher who are the best players on Overpass. 41 frags for Lake, and on the other side, Swisher with 34. Rating of 1.52 for Swisher, and even better for Lake,
wow.
1.70. Yeah, ridiculous numbers coming through from them.
Why would you not want to push the issue on a map like this if you've got some fantastic players on it? So straight away, Slacks goes for that opening attempt. A player that I think is very well prepared for a map like this. He's got the keys in his game to potentially unlock this kingdom, but doesn't nail that initial shot to start things off, and that slows the pace of the round down to a crawl. He'll slowly encroach upon the middle of the map, MAD, and hold on to short control in the meantime as well.
Oh, Sasha, you got the spot. He saw Slacks for sure, so that's some information gained for Regain. Hext moving his way towards sandbags. Fizenko's watching it, and actually no, they readjust. They're going to head into Monster instead. This is going to be an all-out brawl though, because there's 3 crosshairs on both sides heading in this direction. I would say favoring Regain, unless the flashbangs are on point, which they should be. Great flash thrown. Hex gets the first and the second, maybe the third as well. Sasha does a lot of damage despite being flashbang, but he won't get more than one. Lake swings on him and makes it a 4v2.
Now you add the swagger of contact plays for M80. Sin loves a good contact, and Regain completely pantsed in that scenario. Just a couple of well-placed flashes, man. I mean, you could see the attention to detail, Def and Sin putting in the work to develop that game plan. It's obviously a very simple flashbang, but a couple of pixels to the left or the right, at that point, the player on the wood wall could potentially not be blind at all. So that was very masterfully done from the T side, and now Regain can't even activate that Dark AWP as we were kind of hoping out of the gates. And we'll have to wait just a little bit longer before he really gets a fair shot, because I don't necessarily think he was in that round there.
No, certainly not. Oh, and Zukar's gone. Dark? No, he'll survive. So that's good. At least they bring the op out of the rounds. That'll justify the force buy back in. And in fact, it's more than a force buy. It's a full-on buy aside from the FAMAS. They've got pretty much everything they could want. And on the other side, M80 will just bring the AKs and the op to try it again and hope that they have similar success. I mean, look, it's kind of what we expected. They're a very good team. The calls are excellent from Sin. They've adapted to Overpass extremely quickly. And this is going to be somewhere I think they're going to go a lot, right? And especially in the early moments of Overpass, to punish teams that aren't as prepared to play it.
Wow.
See, Hex is, wow, yeah, he's already out. I thought he would get more space, but decides to fall back.
It does actually call a fourth rotation over. At least Zukar was considering to fall through, but with nobody actually pulling the trigger on M80, that does pull him back to the site proper. That being said, though, more map control being lost for the CT side as Lake and company get up the elbow side for free, pretty much. I say that, and Dark actually does find the impact. AWP silencing Lake just for the time being, and that throws a real spanner in the work for the T side.
Yeah, 45 seconds left now. This is one thing that can get away from you on overpass is the clock, because there's just so much space you have to take to try and adjust yourselves off of a hit from one site to the other. Continue to wait. Guessing 30 seconds will be the point where they push in. No? Yeah, okay, there it is. The smoke's coming out for a moment. I was like, oh, what are you guys waiting for? How long are you gonna wait until you execute? Dark misses that shot. That's the opportunity we're looking for to charge in his direction. He misses another. Swisher and Hex get two. 14 seconds left now. All three CTs are trying to retake that space towards the A site. Hex finds one, only one. Fuzenko just has to deny the bomb plant. That's all he has to do here, but he will die. Even though there's not much time left to plant that bomb, it doesn't matter because Sin gets the last two frags.
Oh, it gets a little dicey there for M80, but you gotta credit how finicky they were around the bathrooms. The player in bathroom never gets to pull the trigger. Dark is caught between two minds of when he wants to pull the trigger, and it just collapses like a house of cards. The rotations are just not swift enough, because why would it be? All that being said, if you took that flyer on Hex, well, you'll be rewarded. He's already hit that more than 29.5 kill mark, and rightfully so, man. He's been on a tear this series.
Absolutely. Earned that PrizePicks check mark, no question about it. Zukar takes a little bit of damage there. Beyond that smoke, down to 74 HP, just a stray bullet that connected with him. It's a very heavy lean towards B here for Regain. They're trying to get aggressive and take the space, and they realize no one's around in Monster. Hex backs off. I don't know if he heard that, because if he did, maybe he can call his teammates back and say, hey, they think they heard that. Anyway, Swisher's waiting here. He does only get one, traded up by Zukar, who's going to grab the AK off the ground. Does he know Lake is here? No, absolutely no idea. Lake takes care of him, clotheslines him, and moves on towards that B site. Regain. No one's home. I don't even know if they're going to go towards this site or maybe just try to save what they've got into the next round. But this is an easy bomb plant for M80 Paladin.
And this is one of those rounds that could have very quickly spiraled apart. You think about what Hex did there to pull away after seeing that flashbang. Very, very mature thing to do there. Instead of saying, you know, I'm playing up against an eco, it's probably a couple of frags that I can rack up here. Instead, waits for his team to recongregate. They take con control as a team. Credit to Swisher to find one there. And then they executed that B bomb site with the red carpet rolled out. That's a well-played round from M80, despite the weaponry, the heavy weaponry advantage that they had going into that one.
Sasha, dead. He was trying to keep them towards the site, but that won't really work out, and they're good to go. Someone will die to the bomb. M80 get out with a 6th round, and Halen manages to grab an AK before the round is over, so that's something. I think that was off of Swisher's body earlier on, but either way, I mean, M80 continued to dominate here up against Regain, and their T side has already netted them 6 rounds as mentioned, so they don't have to worry about losing this half. I think it's Regan that have to worry about getting some rounds up here.
I'll tell you what, a well-oiled M80 T side is something very, very exciting to watch, and I hope you guys all take notes as to how to play this map. It's a very difficult map to master, I'd say.
Yes, it is.
And I think so far, so good for that offense, but that being said, Fuzenko wants to get a little frisky around the short side, finds himself a 4v4. But Slacks is still finding impact on the offensive AWP, and that really is a force to be reckoned with. Short control still established for M80.
Yeah, I mean, the op frag nullifies the early damage that Regain did pushing up against Hex, and that's the unfortunate thing for them. So now you see M80 just biding their time, waiting for more pushes to come through, which may happen. Fuzenko's very low. There's the peak Sin was waiting for. He gets one. Fuzenko does manage to get the trade on back towards Slacks, but now his position's known, and this becomes very risky because M80's probably thinking, okay, this got to be the last guy on the site. Maybe we can get the frag. Oh boy. Lake almost gets caught with the util in his hands. Now the reinforcements have arrived, and the opportunity may have slipped away. Good flashbang toss. 35 seconds left. M80 are going to make the move. There's the bomb out. Sin towards Pillar, and he's gone. Zukar, beautiful headshot. Swisher and Lake, the last two standing. This is the chance for Regain. Swisher, just to make it towards the site. They just need to grab that bomb and get it planted. That's exactly what Lake is going to do in this smoke. Some aggressives here. Swisher's very aware of the heavy player, and he manages to spray him down. That could be the winning frag unless Fuzenko swings around, finds Swisher. Lake dancing around the smoke, trying to find the right time to pop out here. It fades away, and Fuzenko, the big piece for Regain in this round, gets the quad kill.
Hey, what a massive sequence there from Fuzenko, unrelenting on this B bomb site, takes matters into his own hands to start off the aggression short side, backs away and still doesn't give up the angle once he's in that headshot corner there on the B bomb site with 16 HP or so on his HP bar. That's really bold to do in the first place, and the fact that he still manages to find some more impact after being stuck in the pit like that, now that's just impressive. You need some individual spark to get these guys activated back, and Fuzenko gives it to him on a silver platter.
All right. I think the only problem with the individual plays like that is how replicable they are, right? If you can do that again, obviously you want the whole team to activate. And this is some good aggression. Okay, maybe they're going to give us exactly what we were talking about. Fuzenko, no. Cannot get that second one, but he does a lot of damage onto Sin. The nade chaser gets thrown by Dark as he's backing off, but Sin is already far away from that angle, so he is safe. Regain. All 5 players committed to that, though. So if M80 back off and go B once more, they will have a free bomb site, which is what they did previously. But perhaps because of the fact Regain adjusted, which is what we thought they should have done last time, will tempt them back in this direction.
Dark still wants to hold on to this angle here in middle, and why not? If you have that follow-away potential on this op, this is the map to do it. Awkward. But Hex still grabs a hold of his gun, but look at Zucker. Has an opportunity at a couple backs turned, and he finds the low HP Sin and nails Hex to the wall as well. Swisher there with the trade, but takes a dink in return. 2v3. And 40 seconds left on the clock. That bomb still stuck in no man's land, and that's where Sasha will capitalize. It's just Slacks left up in this one. Molotov out, but Sasha continues the aggression completely unbeknownst to Slacks. And it's finally a string of rounds that the CT side can hang their hat upon.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's still enough money definitely for M80 to buy up here, but absolutely, Regain should be proud of that. It's the strat they wanted to pull off earlier on in this half, and this time it was exceptionally effective. They kept the pedal to the metal, and the aggression was strong. M80 walked into the trap, and Regain sprung it effectively. 2 players coming through for Connector was not what M80 expected at all, and that's why Sasha was able to capitalize after Zukar falls. So, 3rd round picked up. M80 need to be a little more cautious about their approach here as Regain go back to a more typical setup here. I appreciate, again, the risks that they're taking. They know they have to try to outwit M80 on a map where strategies are everything on both sides. Hex is going to get the opener, though, over onto Halen. Doesn't take much damage for it either.
That's such a massive kill to get if you're hexed. It forces at least one side anchor to stay put, despite the monster smoke in front of him. And that's what Fuzenko must do at this point. Hex has the option of calling the troops back over, and considering they have con control, a B execution would not be a bad idea. And Fuzenko is going to get even more risky here, and he just gets a face full of lead, rightfully so. punished, and this B bomb site is open for business.
And that's the risk, right? When you start to get aggressive like that and you start to get into the face of your opponent, if they wait and are just holding the angles, you're finished. That's exactly what happens there for Zinco. Tried to take the fight to them. I don't blame him for attempting it, but he walked into the spider's web. 5v3 for M80. At this point, Regain, looking at the money situation, can probably try and have a look here, but their positioning is so poor for a retake that they're just going to hold their ground and wait for the next one to start.
Now with these 3 guns saved, what can Regain do to bounce back? I mean, the damage is already done when you think about it from a round perspective. 7 T rounds at this point, and that should be an open and shut case. But we talked about how many rounds Regain can get, and I think for a team that is still learning, that is still trying to be a part of that ECL class, experience and gaining tape is the name of the game, in my opinion. Just having rounds to go back and look at and understand moving forward to improve upon, that requires you to stay in the game for as long as possible. So there's always that extra carrot at the end of the stick for Regain to just hang around for as long as possible.
Getting aggressive with the op. Ooh, good flashbang. Completely nullifies his push, and he has to back off of it. M80 takes the space that he left behind, and Swisher into connector just takes care of business up against Zukar. 5v4 for M80 early on in this round. Hex continues to lurk effectively towards that B site. He will be falling off of it for now, maybe called over to the rest of his team to support them. Still a lot of time left on the clock, and Regain continue to gamble, right? This time they're gambling towards B site. 3 players there, only 1 left on the A site. It's dark. It's going to have a lot of ground to cover, assuming M80 decide to go in this direction. It could just be a smoke to bait them, but yeah, go ahead.
They're really working all parts of the map at all points in time, it feels like. If I'm Regain, I struggle to really find a part of the map that I can hold on to.
Yeah.
Can't hold on to Fountain, can't hold on to Short, Con, Long either. And now in this 4v5, they have to gamble. 4 players to that B bomb site, and it's the complete wrong side of the map. I think at this point, you do have to call the save and just say, maybe we could try to nab a 4th at the tail end.
That's such a clever smoke thrown by M80 because they throw it to make it look like they're faking A and going B, and that's why Dark rotates around towards that B site, and then the actual XU comes in, but by that point, Dark is already way out of reach of the bomb site, so now they're just going to go for the save. That's brilliant maneuvering from M80.
I find it so unfortunate for Dark, who is all right with his mechanics on the AWP, but just can't get to the scene of the crime ever, it seems like. Always just a step too late. And M80 have been avoiding that CT sniper very effectively. Dark will still get one on the tail end, but it's just consolations.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like Regain couldn't have tried to go for the retake either. They had a lot of money in Dark's bank account in particular, Sasha as well, so they could have dropped for their teammates if things go wrong in the retake, but they decide to give it up immediately. Which is a little interesting. Suffice to say, I don't know if M80 would have lost it either way with the control they had of the bomb site and how much time was left on that bomb. 12th round of play, last round in this half. M80 might go fast. They've been really slow for the majority of this round, and they might just ratchet up the pace to try to change the pitch up against Regain, but the boost works. Sasha catches off Lake, and I think that'll accelerate M80 even more. Lost the first piece of their attack. Halen manages to survive that first salvo of bullets, but not the next from Sin. That being said, 4v2 for Regain off of this attempt for a quick play from M80. Slacks, though, connects through Zukar, and he got Dark through the wall, didn't he?
Yeah.
What?
That is unreal from Slacks. And now it's still a real opportunity in making a commotion here in round number 12. With how much space they've been given over on the connector side, they can go back up to that A bomb site. Flash primed and ready for Slacks to jostle with Dark's crosshair. And Sin will be able to get out. Still dives back into the connector. And Sin still has his eyes set on this B bomb site. Slacks will move back over to the monster side. See if he can get another body in his crosshair. But Sasha and Fuzenko aren't moving a muscle.
Yeah. I think they were really hoping that smoke would bait out a peak here. It doesn't. Fuzenko and Sasha, the key pieces to success. Sasha and Fuzenko both strike onto Slacks and Sin to secure their 4th round. It's something. Not the best of CT sides overpass, but Regain looked a lot better here than they did on Ancient.
Yeah, they finally had some like individual moments that you can say, yes.
Yeah.
They have something to show here. You look at Fuzenko's 4K hold, I think that's probably the best moment in the series for them thus far. And Zukar, like, if he can stay mobile and active, he can find some impact here and there, but it's clear that Sin has developed a stellar playbook thus far on Overpass, and I don't even think that we saw the full extent of the playbook as well, which is a fearsome tale for future matchups. But all that being said, Dark still finds a 5v4 entry here for the T side as they go charging through the bathrooms, put all the pressure here on the Slacks early, and he'll take a goosh 1 HP straight away. And he'll surely hit the deck in just a little bit of time, alive for quite a bit longer. And it's just Sin on the back of the A bomb site. Halen has taken all this space in a B though.
Yeah.
And that calls back Hexed.
Yeah, I think they realized that, did M80 a little later on, but Hex didn't know how far Halen was up. Oh, Halen, you've got to get that. He had to jump on Hex and everything, and Hex had util in his hands. Now Hex the chance to clutch it out. Pulls out the dualies once more, and he's only got 1 player left to worry about because Sin takes care of Sasha, but he will fall. And now it is Sin, the pistol master here with 3 frags up against Fuzenko, and Sin gets the 4K M80 flawless on pistol rounds.
4-4-4. Sin now 100 DAR, leading by example in this game. And showcasing so much poise on the back of the A bomb site. Double kill from him there. And then a swift rotation back downstairs. Finishing off the one-on-one. And I hate to say it, John, but that feels like the straw that breaks the camel's back. Or the goat's back, I guess, considering their logo and all.
Yeah. Very appropriate, yeah. But, look, there's still a chance here for Regain. They got that extra round there in that first half compared to Ancient, 4th on the board, so they have the luxury of going for it equal comfortably here, and it won't yield. Okay, a couple of frags. I was going to say it didn't yield anything, but in the end, it is a round loss, as Swisher wraps things up from Connector, looking cool, calm, and collected for his 11th and 12th frags of the map. I'm sure he's creeping up on his frag estimate as well, his PrizePicks frag estimate, but we'll see if he gets there, as here come the guns for Regain.
I think his was 25. I could be wrong.
No, I think his was 30, like 30.
Oh wow,
right?
okay, yeah. That'll be tough. That will be tough. Not necessarily because he's not a caliber player to reach that mark, but frankly, will there be enough rounds for him to get to that point is the real question. First buy round now for Regain though on that AWP, and Slack straight away finding impact.
Does get traded out. I was gonna say he's either 30.5 or 29.5, but it's quite high. It's gonna be a bit of a task. Either way, Slacks does get traded as mentioned. Lake, nade out. Good information. They'll probably get him. They do. Nice play by Regain, patiently waiting out Lake. Spamming through in the opposite direction. M82 players towards the B site, only 1 on A. That's Sin with a FAMAS, and they're going in his direction.
He's been good on the multis before, but real task here to get multiple from this position. It's usually a one and done, and I think Dark has been spotted, and as I suspected, 1 kill for the German as Regain will continue their efforts into this A bomb site. But both players are here, John. Both players are here, and Hext lines up to... Fuzenko was trying to sell something on B, but it doesn't matter. They never were going to bite on that. It's do or die here for the Ukrainian. Lines up 1 on a Hex, but Swisher there to complete. AWP recovered, and M80 have all they ask for moving into round number 16.
No, I mean, look, Sin had too much information. I think he saw the bomb as well, so he said, guys, they're going A. They're already committed towards long, and he calls for the reinforcements to arrive. Hext and Swisher both waiting for Regain to get there, and just, I don't think Regain expected that type of firepower to be greeting them as soon as they set foot towards A. So 11-4 for M80, and that could be the end for Regain, as now they're going to be stuck onto pistols only. We have a timeout called by them to talk things over and what they want to do with these Tech 9s. I'm assuming a faster play will come through, maybe towards that B site, get those flashes, smokes out quickly, and try to overload M80. Which, I mean, has been the secret to the success for Regain when they have won rounds, is aggression. It won't be easy, to say the least.
And they're giving 12 here as well. I love that Pepe
I was gonna say, yeah.
behind him. That's fantastic.
Sitting on the wall there, always in view of his webcam. Airburst Molotov's not going to help matters here for Regain. Well, I'm not sure if it was theirs.
I think it was an M80 Molotov, or an incendiary rather, but
no, you're right.
It doesn't matter. They're going to go popping into this B bomb site, straight into Hex. Switcher lines up a couple as well. And with this 3v2, it should be easy pickings for the CT side, and it absolutely will be. Sasha taking bullets every which way, and Sin will just close it down, spamming through the smoke. And that's match point now for M80. 8 opportunities to do it in regulation.
Honestly, that's exactly what I expected Regain to do, and you think if I'm expecting it, M80 are too, and they were absolutely ready for it. 12-4 in their favor. They've got 8 opportunities to close out this series and eliminate Regain from the PrizePicks NA Revival Series number 7.
It's always a battle to fight to this position through those open qualifiers these days.
Yeah.
And for that, you should commend them. But with that being said, the open qualifying team will always be dealt a very, very tough hand in that first round.
Sorry.
I have no idea. I think that might have been through the wood wall there, but it still is a Regain favorable trade there. So maybe we've got a little bit more to say in this one.
Perhaps. Fuzenko took a lot of damage to get that trade, though, so he's on notice. Oh, and he gets fragged by Slacks. Great shot and lineup from him with the AWP. Slacks going to fall back after that, knowing that the pressure will likely be on. In fact, Regain going towards B. Hext is in good cover here. Ooh. You didn't see Halen, because the sandbags are covering him for now, and could be a risk if he pops up at the wrong time, and I thought that was the wrong time, but no, Hext will still get that frag. And now he backs off. Need to readjust. Will eventually get taken down. Making it a 2v2, but this is Regain's life on the line up against Slacks and Swisher finds Zukar looking the wrong way. It's all down to dark, and Slacks leaves no doubts in the minds of us nor any fans of M80. They are going to get a 13th round on the board, and that'll be it for Regain. M80 move on, Regain do not.
Cool, calm, and collected here from M80 on their own map pick of Overpass. Not the dominant AWP performance from either end of the server, but you still got some fantastic playing from those aggressive riflers. Hex getting caught into the action. Swisher in connector. Lake also having his moments. So lovely stuff for M80, and I think the best part for them is they didn't have to show too much of their hand so far in this tournament. Playing a minimum amount of rounds. All that being said, moving forward into the Getting Info Supernova Comets winner game, I think they'll be very happy to have a lot of rest in their back minds here moving forward.
Yeah, no question. And I mean, look, it was exactly what we expected from M80. Nothing went outside of the norm, I would say, against this regain squad, which is good for M80. Everyone looked good. Hext in particular, maybe that's the one we can highlight because we thought he was going to be good, but he ended up being fantastic. 37.
37.
Yeah, 37 and 17. Plus 20 kill to death differential and 122 DAR. Ridiculous numbers coming through from him. Whoa, I don't think that's right for Swisher's frag estimate. 56.6. That's no way, no how. I believe it was 29.5 for Swisher, which, you know, he was close to. Everyone did well here for MH. Just that Hex took the lion's share of the frags on pretty much both maps. He was everywhere.
Yeah, and then that's the benefit of having your aggro rifler open up rounds for you. He's just going to win it outright, and
Yeah.
from then on out, it's not really much to do for some of these trade fraggers when your entry is doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And look at how few deaths he has across the series. Only 17. And that alone is such a boon to have if you are the captain of Sin. So very happy to see this kind of a scoreboard if you're an M80 fan. And moving forward, everything looks lined up for them to have that route into the final and try to gun for that title here. We'll see what they can get done tomorrow. Obviously, long day for them ahead when you consider the semi and the final having to be played on the same day. But that's a thought for another day. I mean, you look at the other side of the thing, other side of the server, regain, not necessarily having anybody get to that point where you could say, yes, they met that PrizePicks kill mark, but I think you can still be excited about regain and saying that getting to this point is still an exciting feat, and hopefully we can see them battle back once more.
Yeah, no question. I think we're going to see a lot more of regain. This is something for them to look back on and analyze and see what they did right, what they did wrong, because there were some things they did right. We have to give them the credit. On that CT side, I like some of the strategies they called. I like the aggression towards Fountain. I think the first time they did it, it just was a little bit rough. Obviously, they haven't played that much in terms of officials at all anyway, in terms of officials on Overpass. And they were trying something interesting. It didn't work out the first time. It did the second time because they decided to back off the early aggression and then set themselves up instead around con and bathrooms, right? Short bathrooms. So I really like that from this regain squad. But either way, they have to swallow that bitter pill and find themselves on the way out of this NA Revival Series number 7. We're going to take a bit of a break now, guys, because we got to get ready for this next match. But before we do, we have some thank yous to say, of course. The NA Revival Series is sponsored by PrizePicks. The best North American Counter-Strike players are competing right now, and you can win real money while watching them play. Join PrizePicks to get in on the action. It is super easy to get started. All you have to do is select 2 or more players and choose more or less on their stat projections to build up your lineup. Then sit back and watch your lineup stats rack up. For a limited time, click the link on the panel below or use code REVIVAL when making an account and playing a $5 lineup to receive $50 whether you win or lose. It's a guaranteed win for all new PrizePicks users. Thank you again to PrizePicks for partnering with Complexity and Mythic League to host the NA Revival Series. The PrizePicks NA Revival Series is also partnering with Mythic League. Players are always asking for a premier solo queue matchmaking experience without cheaters, and Mythic League has been providing this for over 6 years, and is now free to play for FACEIT ranks 2 to 6 in the Silver Division. All players are required to have and use their microphone. The support staff is always available to help out in Discord for live matches, and Smurf accounts are banned swiftly. Additionally, there is $5,000 in monthly prizes available for subscribers throughout all divisions. Give Mythic League a try today and use code ML50 for 50% off your first subscription of 1, 3, or 6 months, guys. We'll be back in a little bit. That image on the screen just made me laugh. Rob's doing his best to disrupt me. We'll be back after this break, guys.
when you're screaming out, but you can't make a sound, you know.
Welcome back to the PrizePicks NA Revival Series number 7. The second quarterfinal is coming up here on the mainstream anyway. We have a couple of others going on in the B stream. I think Flom is covering those. But either way, we've got Boss versus Blue Jays here, Paladin. I think this one should be relatively interesting, although we do have a couple of changes happening over on the Boss roster, right? I mean, Ben Leet from Party Astronauts is joining up here. I don't know if this is permanent. Boss needed an IGL, but it would be interesting if he finally sheds away the astronaut suit and joins up with this Boss squad.
Yeah, I mean, this one kind of caught me out of left field. I always thought Ben Lee would be the guy that would stay on
Yeah,
Party Astronauts for as long as possible and have the roster change around him. But I guess he's trying to seek a different lineup. And hey, Boss has needed an opening for an IGL. I think about their time in the EPL quals, and they looked lost and
they
and
did. Yeah.
needed that some sort of leadership, really, because the individuals are still definitely hard hitting. I mean, you think about the VRS core of this team in Darty, Fruit Cup, and Slight, and these guys can still pack a punch in their own respective roles. And I just feel like season on season, Fruit Cup is getting so confident and so dominant to a point where he really is one of the best riflers that we have in the region. And just seeing him with actual leadership beside him will be awesome to watch. And I'm always going to support watching B-Wills play. I think that this guy is
Yeah.
still very skilled in terms of how he approaches the server. So overall, I'm still very excited. I'm very high on this Boss roster. That being said, on the other side of the equation, when you look at Blue Jays, I mean, there is so much talent on this roster on the other end as well, John.
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially the old Nouns core that was picked up by Blue Jays, and then they rounded it out with Laxi and I believe it's Freshy. Freshy hung around on that Blue Jays squad after they released everyone else. So I think overall it's kind of gone very, very well. Junior's a phenomenal opper that they've picked up here, along with Cryptic as the IGL. That's, used to be the IGL at Boss. I mean, you talked about Fruit Cup needing a proper leader. He had one when Cryptic was part of Boss, right?
Yeah.
And he looked great. And I think that even without the IGL, he still looked good, but he needs that leadership. I agree with you. And I think Ben Leeds going to bring a ton of that to the table. A very talented squad here. I'm curious to see, again, like one, how they perform here, and two, if Ben sticks around after this to stay with the squad. Let's talk about the teams now. Let's jump into the Prize Picks analyst section here. Segment, I should say. Who are we starting with? We're starting with Blue Jays. I mean, look, Junior, right away for me. He's a player that's always going to pop off. He's consistently strong in North America anyway, and I think that he's a player that will almost certainly come out and deliver you. I want to say consistently 15 frags, pretty much every single map.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple decision, I'd say, for a lot of people, is to take more kills for Junior over more than 32.5 kills in these maps for the series as well. It just feels like such a smart decision to take. I think the other option in this situation is the new blood in Laxi. And you can tell that
Yeah.
in this circumstance, he's also had a lot of eyeballs on him. I think getting more kills than 30 feels pretty reasonable for a guy like him. And I think in a matchup like this is where you let your riflers kind of go balls to the wall and see what you can find. And I think that he's got the capabilities of doing that.
Yeah, he's got that flame next to his name for good reason, right? He's very hot lately. I think it was an interview with Junior at Fragadelphia where Junior said you just send, or I don't know if it's Junior, it doesn't matter, but someone said Laxi, you just send him out and he kills oppers. Like that's it. He just takes
Yeah.
down oppers with the aggressiveness, and I think that's a testament to how well he's played. He really has been something else. And for me, you could honestly look at Classia, you could look at Cryptic, even Freshy as players that could be performing well, but Junior and Laxi deserve to be highlighted the most on this squad right now. Let's switch gears and talk about Boss. Fruit Cup, you already highlighted it. I mean, he's the guy you have your eyes on every single time. He's consistently been an incredible rifler. It's unfortunate for Boss, I would say, what happened to them in the EPL qualifiers, right? Like they did
Mhm.
well against the teams that were more advanced or tier 3 level, but once they got up against the Getting Infos and the Marsborns, it didn't go well at all for them. They ended up losing those pretty decisively. But like you said, they didn't have a clear IGL.
I think that's the biggest issue for them. But I think the common the common thread along all of these series, regardless of skill level, is the level at which Fruit Cup has been able to play at.
Yeah.
It looks like in these systems that I've been seeing post Cryptic, he's been given a lot more room to play around in the map and be let off the leash a little bit more, being taken off of anchor duties here and there. And that to me shows the sign of a guy that has developed and has showcased the talent needed to play in these roles. That taking more than 32.5 kills in a series for him, I don't think is a crazy statement to make. That I kind of like what I'm seeing on this end.
I think the only thing that could potentially keep him from doing that is a very strong Blue Jays performance and the fact that they haven't really played with Ben before, so they're going to be trying to figure out what strats he wants to call, how things are going to work. I think that's the one weakness that could come through here for Boss. But absolutely, like top-rated players Fruit Cup on the team, 1.15 rating, 80.2 ADR. The guy is a monstrously good rifler. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. Let's jump into the veto now. I think we've wrapped up pretty much everything we wanted to talk about here. Oh, wait, I should say, before we do, hold on, Darty. Darty's a player who's a dark horse for me. I think that he's been a really strong performer in the past. He's got some flames next to his name. He has had decent results lately, but he's inconsistent. And I think that's the biggest problem for him.
And the other glaring issue is that he's an anchor most of the time, right? So you're always going to be dealt a pretty tough hand. That being said, I still think he is a very serviceable anchor, especially in this day and age when anchors are very hard to come by in the North American region. So I will always back Darty in that sense. And here's the veto for you. Boss going towards Ancient. I like that. There is this caveat that I always think about of Ben Leet, as a PA caller, was never able to figure out Ancient for his entire tenure on that organization's books. Boss, however, you think about the core there. Fundamentally, that core really understands this map. So I think that push and pull will be very interesting to see how that goes about. But for Blue Jays, I think you've got every single map that you could ask for in this pool to kind of steamroll.
No, I do agree. I think that, Dust 2 coming in for Blue Jays, maybe, I don't want to say it's a mistake because it's a map they're really strong on, but the fact of the matter is calling isn't as important on Dust 2 because you know the strats. Everyone knows what you do on Dust 2. It's not a secret. So I feel like that'll be easier for Ben to work around with rather than going on to an overpass or, an Inferno, which is the third map here where things might get a little more complicated. But, a Train is the ban for Blue Jays, Nuke as well. Those are two maps that also require a lot of practice under your IGL and knowing your strats, knowing your strat book on both sides. So, I mean, look, this is actually a pretty good veto given the fact that Ben is calling his first matches here with this Boss roster. One thing we don't know is how long Ben has been preparing for this. Is this like a long-term thing? Has he been playing pugs with them? Has he been trying to get into the roster and work things out? Or is this just a one-time thing where he's slotting in with the Blue Jays? Sorry, not the Blue Jays, with Boss. So that's a big question on my mind. All of the factors considered, everything in play here, I still agree with you. The lean is towards Blue Jays, but there is a chance for Boss to surprise us.
And I hope that we do get that kind of surprise because in this circumstance, I feel as though this game is a bit of a grudge match for the Boss side. I mean, you think about all these players that were discarded from the Blue Jays organization that are hungry to find that sort of organization back again. And you see all the players that are replacing you on the other end, and you think, hey, I'm still better than these guys. I still consider myself to be better than these guys. And I think that little bit of chip on the shoulder has always been on the boss organization's books for years on end. If you think about all these RMRs that they've been to and all these big tournaments that they've tried to qualify to, they've always had that caveat to them that you say that maybe these guys aren't ready, maybe they're not prepared, and they always surprise. And I hope that we can get that level of surprise in a series like this one, because I'm not going to say that Blue Jays are all completely put together just yet. They're going through their own growing pains of trying to integrate Laxi into the fold and making sure that this cryptic system is still built strong. So I think there is a couple of cracks showing on both ends. It's really who exploits those kinds of potential holes in their game plans as far as this series is concerned. But obviously, when you talk about it pound for pound, Boss is going to have a much higher mountain to climb.
Yeah, and I mean, let's not forget that Blue Jays might have the land buff coming through, perhaps after having played at Philadelphia. They had some nice wins, right? And you look at maybe notorious reaction there, but maybe notorious and not really that big of a deal. But against Fluxo, they did pretty well in their first one. Did lose the series 1-2, but in control, winning 2-0 fairly cleanly. And NRG, that's the big win in my books. Honestly, they won 2-1 there to go up against Colsey. That didn't go well, and neither did the matchup against Fluxo. So you're right. I mean, there are the growing pains for Blue Jays right now, especially against top tier competition. But against teams like Boss, at the level that they're playing at right now, I feel like they're having a lot of success.
Yeah, and I think in terms of the hierarchy of how North America works right now, there is a vacuum, I'd say, beyond M80. There isn't a surefire number two team with how in flux wildcard are right now, where we don't even know what roster we're going to get from event to event, that their spot is up for grabs. And that could be the Blue Jays. I think they've shown the most promise to snag that spot, but there are rosters like Marsborn, there's rosters like a Boss that could potentially try and sneak themselves from that conversation. It's series like this, it's competition like this that makes or breaks that conversation. So we'll see what they have on offer, Boss. But yeah, I can see why people tout them. I mean, obviously, you just look at the players outright. Cryptic, one of the hottest prospects in terms of the calling department that we have in our region. You talk about Clasia, has always been a very exciting player for years to come now. Finally feels like you've got an IGL that's able to wrangle him and make him feel comfortable in a system. And then you look at Junior, who was yes, I mean, you can have all the question marks about him in terms of international play, but we're not talking about that in the North American competition. This is where he dominates. So I think that in this point of time, you have to favor the Blue Jays moving forward and say that, yeah, they are vying for that second spot, that third spot in North America. And when it comes to that major time, that major conversation, you got to put them in that kind of point of potentially getting the direct invite as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, it's going to be exciting heading into this matchup to see who comes out and can show their stuff and to see if Ben Lee can integrate himself quickly with this Boss roster. One point I want to bring, it's not about this matchup actually, it's about the wild card matchup that's coming up. I don't know if you saw Paladin, but Sonic also expressed that he wanted to leave the team before Stanislaw was reintegrated into the roster. Do you think with Stan going back in that Sonic changes his mind and says, "Look, I got the IGL, I got the player I like to play with back onto the roster." Does he change his mind?
I mean, it'll be interesting, right? It's because
Right.
like management has you tied up in a whole bit of turmoil out of the server,
Right.
but in the server, you're still dealt a pretty good roster. I think
Yes, with
playing
Stan
with
back it is.
peeping, yeah, playing with peeping is still a fantastic option. I mean, we've seen what he's done in this series alone, like in the NA Revival series, of how he's ascended into so many different rosters because of what he's done in this tournament series. So I think that this guy has a lot to give, and to play under a good leader is fantastic for Stan. And I think he was probably assuming that he was going to get to play with him. Now, I think the biggest question mark is, what is that jump from Fuzi to Friend going to be? Because we've seen glimpses of Stan with Friend, and it looked pretty good at Atlanta. You and I were
Yeah,
both there to
yeah,
witness
yeah.
that. But how much longevity is there in the grand scheme of things, especially considering he's not played against even tier 2 European opposition in a long time playing on Wildcard Academy?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think Friend is like you said, in Atlanta he looked good. I think we appreciated what we saw from him. Wildcard ended up beating M80, I believe it was, in one of their BO3s. So that was something that they were happy to write home about. But at the same time, I don't know if that gave us much of a look into what he brought to the squad, because it was just as a fill-in, just as a stand-in for one event, and then he wasn't part of the team anymore. I would love to see things work out for this wild card squad. I think they finally made a good decision in bringing Stan back and reversing that original decision on their part, which is good. They do have Susp taking a seat on the bench, but if I'm being honest, he was the player I had marked to be replaced by Peeping initially, but now it ends up being Stanislaw, who's back on the roster in turn. So yeah, I didn't think Fuzi was going to be taken out. I think putting Friend in it's weird. There's a lot of weird stuff happening on Wildcard. But like I said, Stan is back. And because Stan is there, I've said it before and I'll say it again. He is a huge difference maker for that roster. Despite, regardless of who he ends up playing with, he can wrangle and bring out the best in every single player. So that's exciting for the Wildcard side. And let's get back to the discussion here between Boss and Blue Jays. I think we're about ready to get back into this, back into the action. I should say starting into the action. And yeah, it's going live. I'm hearing in my ear. Here we go. We are on to Dust 2.
Excited to be here. Blue Jays Boss, a grudge match here in the quarterfinals. Only one more spot, or two more spots rather, available in those semifinals. One between these two here. And Fruit Cup already off to the races, trying to get involved off the short side. Takes down his former captain in Cryptic. 5v4 for the CT side.
B-Wills and Slight waiting around on the other side. And B-Wills actually has history playing with Junior, right? On that Nouns roster quite some time ago. He's going to get one, but only one. Junior, speaking of which, finds the 2K, brings the numbers back in his favor, both in terms of getting it back down to a 3v3 and, of course, doing more damage up against Fruit Cup, who's down to 13 and barely surviving here. Blue Jays readjusting, I should say, towards that B site. Only one player there, that's Darty.
Benleet will clear out the middle position alongside Fruit Cup, but they've got to make the rotation quickly. I mean, they've covered all along. They know where this one's ending up, but the rotation isn't fast enough. Darty gets pushed out of the site and hits the deck. Benleet straight away has his work cut out for him and can't find anything. It'll be Fruit Cup on the flank, though, to make this one possible.
That's such a good decision from Freshie to take the fight to Ben because they know they would have had him threatening if they engage with Fruit Cup, and then they immediately wipe him out. Then Freshie gets the last as well. 3K for him. And that'll do it for the pistol round. Blue Jays take it and jump up to a 1-0 lead. I think the best days for Freshie and Darty actually were when they were playing together as part of Boss. It was a few seasons ago in ECL when they were making their playoff run and really making a jump to get people's attention, I would say, on that Boss roster. They were fantastic, a dynamic duo that could not be stopped under most circumstances. So I'd hope to see both of them find some more success in the coming months. Anyway, Cryptic and Laxi going to get the opening. It should be pretty clear cut. And it is.
Here comes Fruit Cup on the short side. With that one deagle. Amassing 2 kills gives him the right to buy it. But actually finding something with it is the real question. Long cross smoke is through. And he'll basically have one opportunity with this crosshair placement. And he nails it. That's what that's exactly what you're looking for, but getting anything more now, that might be a little too much to ask from the young prodigy. And he'll just have to back away. I mean, he can go back to CT, throw down a couple more pot shots, maybe scoop up a gun off of the long side, but his options are certainly limited here. But any damage is good damage.
Not to mention you have the extra $50 per frag for the whole team, right? That's a difference maker now for the CT. So staying a little bit longer in this situation, I don't mind it at all, especially since it's just a deagle. He can help out his teammates' bank accounts with another nice shot. He does get tagged down to 19 here, now 10, and gets 3 cracks at it, but won't connect with any of them. Glacia takes care of business. 2-0 in favor of Blue Jays, getting ahead of myself. It will be a buy-up for Boss coming through here. Although, you look on the other side, this isn't really a bonus round as we typically describe it on the Blue Jays, and they already got the AK upgrades, no MAC-10s in the mix, and it'll just be, maybe you could say the Scout is more of a bonus round weapon, but outside of that, they're looking good.
Junior will keep the Scout, and he'll nail a shot to start things off through the door. Instant long control trying to be established here from Blue Jays, but Slight says no. Cryptic hits the deck, and Glacia is still unrelenting. Gets a good bit of spam, but no frag, and that doesn't push the issue here on the long end. So he'll pull back, and Leeton Slight will hold on to this position. And Blue Jays, that plan A idea of taking long space puts them in an awkward situation because they dumped a lot of util for that take.
Yeah, they still have a decent chunk left, right? They got 3 smokes, a couple of flashes, and 4 Molotovs, so that's more than enough to try and take some space mid, or maybe execute towards the B site, and clock on their side because of how quick that initial engagement was there into long. Be interesting to see them double back towards long here. A smoke recycled may deter them from doing that. Freshie does have that full belt of util. I think he wanted to throw the mid to be smoke, but is going to wait until everyone's in position, I'd imagine, before he tosses it. Now with them there. There it goes. Gets the flash out to mid as well. He's trying to sell that the push will go towards mid to buy some space here for the long players, but it doesn't really move Ben Lead, who will be their first challenge.
Big ask here from Ben Lee. Just getting one should be enough to secure the round at the very least. But Ben Lee gets pushed back. They're trying to really make his life hell. Now caught between 2 Molotovs, and Ben Lee still manages to get one. Lasts just long enough to stay alive as well. And now a lot
10
on
seconds.
Freshie's shoulders. And yeah, that's the biggest issue. 10 seconds and it's still a player in Fruit Cup at the back of the A bomb site. And Fruit Cup will nail his marks. First round for Boss.
Yeah, I mean, look, Blue Jays just took too long to activate there towards long. They had to move faster, especially considering if they wanted Freshie to lurk around there and open up space for them, you got to do that like 10, 15 seconds earlier. Instead, they wait and wait and wait, and by the time they're actually moving up long, they wouldn't have been able to make it to the site to plant. It's impossible, given the amount of time that was left. So they had to win it on frags and just panicked and lost it. So that's a great response there from Boss. Blue Jays jumping out with the Tech 9s, going for the eco immediately. Ben Lee takes the head clean off of Classy, but Freshie is slipped through. What's going on here with the comms? Freshie gets the 3K! He moved right in. They didn't realize he'd gotten past them in long. Slight goes down, and then there's absolutely no communication going on. This could be a complete blunder for Boss and Freshie. He's got the 4K, almost 5 HP for Ben. He's got nowhere to go, though, and Freshie will take care of the rest. Darty, the last one standing in a 4v1. That is the craziest play I've seen in a very, very long time.
Oh my goodness. And the bomb's on B, mind you. Oh, that's a round to forget for Boss. It's the back turn that was just shocking to me.
I would need to see a replay of how he got through, though. That's the craziest part.
So from what I saw, he was just straight beelining it to the corner smoke. And I think just caught a timing in which he was only facing one player. But that has to be communicated that a duel is being taken. I'm just shocked that nobody turned in that situation.
Yeah, like it felt like it was happening so quickly that it's hard to calm that, but like there was no understanding of where Freshie was. I can't really blame, I think it was Slight for not figuring out what was going on, but yeah, that's a wild play. A little bit of a smile there from Freshie. Happy with what he achieved. And after a very nice round victory for Boss, to lose the follow-up like that is a momentum killer. Like you get nothing off of that round victory now. Just the eco, of course, for Blue Jays. They weren't even forcing up. Cryptic, the opener there towards Cat. May send the Blue Jays up long a little bit faster now.
Ben Lee wanted to take this lower aggression, but they already have uppers, so at this point it's just trying to stay alive so he can get away. But that one mid-smoke negates everything. Long control established for the T side, and they'll just scale. Oh.
Okay. Freshie? Yeah. Yeah, this is probably done. All right, well, there's a bit of a flank on Cat here. Darty probably dead to rights. He is. Clausia takes care of that. Slight and B-Will's last 2 standing. I was actually just watching the play that Freshie made back on stream, and it was literally exactly as you described it. He just beelined it through the flashbang, through the smoke, and he wasn't spotted. And it was just a complete disruption of the expectations that Boss were bringing forward towards that long play. Unreal stuff. Sometimes holding W works out. B-Will's last one standing. And done.
He had the best spawn, John, and he had to take it.
Yeah, I can't blame him.
I mean,
Why not?
Listen, there are a lot of people that I watch that take the long control and they just go for a blue bin and they sit on blue bin and wait for a teammate to come to trade them. Not Freshie, though.
He just goes. He sends it.
Yeah.
Talked about how is looking forward to seeing Freshie find his rhythm again, and after that, it's been pretty strong. 9 frags already on the board. Blue Jays keep that ball rolling. Buy up is coming through again for Boss. Slight waiting at Cat with the AWP. Tapping the smoke. There's a player beyond it. That's B-Wills. But he won't hang around long enough for those bullets to make a connection.
The boost does not net anything for Slight, so they disassemble. But they'll still hold on to short control. Flash at the ready for Slight in case they do want to take that space. But it's back to long that Blue Jays are considering. And again, Ben Lead is tasked with a lot. Managed to find one in the previous, but for now, won't have to actually suffer any sort of duel.
Fruit Cup, waiting on Cat. Ooh, this could be a good move. Junior's got his op put away, and the timing doesn't work out in the end. I thought it would for a moment, but he didn't realize what he had in his hands, that Fruit Cup and Classia will take care of it. Beautiful flashbang thrown for Classia to move out, but Darty's right there to close the space up. Elite, waiting up blue bin, gets one and only one. Slight erased by Laxi. We talked about it in the pregame, and so did the Blue Jays, about how you just send him out to kill offers, and that's exactly what he does there. B-Wills and Darty, last two standing. Darty's right next to the smoke, hugging it, as the bomb gets planted here towards the A site. Not much time left in the round, but it didn't really matter because Blue Jays had full control, and Junior through the smoke takes care of the last two. 3K for him, and Blue Jays have got 5.
That's just an awesome round from Laxi.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Crosshair placement down to a T. And what does that do for Junior? It's a free AWP upgrade. Hasn't really needed to do much in this game, obviously icing out that round previous, but now he's got a real chance to put the hurt on. Smoke used to cross over. They know what's been recovered by the T side. And all of a sudden, this game just feels a whole lot more lopsided. Everything working in the Blue Jays' favor. Every individual that you needed to step up right now has done so.
I think it's just a little tough to judge Boss at this stage, right? First time they're playing with Ben, who's a great IGL. We already know how good he is, but he's with an entirely new squad, and they haven't necessarily played with him for an extended period of time. Cryptic, what? That's ridiculous. Okay. He manages to get that frag onto B-Wills while he's struggling to get up on the box, so it all works out, even though he's down to 10 HP. Darty doesn't take as much damage from the nade as you'd expect. He manages to back off and jump up on that box to avoid it. But as it stands, it is just an eco round for Boss, so we're not expecting much from them.
Then he scoots back over. They try to reclaim this mid space as much as possible. They're going to go at Laxi, but he's got Freshie behind him as well. So Bentley can't really do much there. Close molly deployed, flash through, and Laxi actually walks in. Not something that you see, but it doesn't matter. The result is still the same. 2 for 1 for that T side. And Cryptic will close things out as well. So they get through this eco, no problem. And the kills just keep on coming, John.
Yeah, everyone's feeling good here on the Blue Jays side. It's a bad sign, I would say, for Boss when there isn't really a weak point on the other end, especially on a map like Dust 2, where individual efforts will be the most important aspects sometimes. And then, well, they need something more across the board for Boss. We talked about Fruit Cup. He's had some moments here, brief as they may have been. He is the top of the scoreboard. But they need everyone to start activating here, otherwise this is going to be a complete stomp. Right, There it is. Junior's gone. He wins the op duel. That could send Blue Jays packing away from this B site immediately.
Yeah, that's nice to have at this point. Mid to B will be still a possibility, mind you. Crisscross smokes being deployed here, or at least the lurk smoke side of things. And with no short control, it might be their best avenue. Cryptic still considering to at least take this space before going into that B side. But doesn't really have the util to do it. He's just gonna go dry, try to duel straight forward, and nearly gets two. Laxi will be there for the trade. Into the 2v3, 45 seconds left on the clock. They really need to start getting a move on, considering this map is being cut in half as they speak.
I like this play from Slight because he knows they're in the vicinity. Oh, what a flick onto Freshie. I thought Freshie had the jump on him, and now it's all down to Laxi. 30 seconds left on the clock. He's got the bomb on his back, and he's got the smoke to throw to head into B. Unbeknownst to him, that B site is heavily defended, and Slight will take care of the last. That is exactly what they were looking for from their opper on the boss side. 3K for Slight as they finally pick up their second round, but the guns will come right back for the Blue Jays.
Nicely done, and it's gonna have to be players like Slight to make some of these head-to-heads doable. That Junior Slight back and forth, I mean, it does feel like for the most part it's one-way traffic, but we know the ceiling that Slight can show on his A game, and if we can get that level of Slight, then we've got a game on our hands, at least in that department. And once again, he wins the head-to-head on the B end.
Really? I feel like that's just maybe a little bit of ego from Junior saying, oh, you won that fight the first time, I'm going to win it this time. And no, it doesn't happen. So you don't usually expect two oppers to be facing off on B twice in a row. Usually it's in the mid area, but either way, Laxi does find Slight. The op killer continues his reign of terror.
And look at that. Look at all the space that he gets in middle. Completely opens Dust 2 up for the T side, and Darty, he's got no other option but to potentially go through this. Flash is there, but again, another razor-sharp kill from Laxi, and he'll triple down. Beautiful work there from the Mongolian, and this B bomb site should be open for business. Cryptic just keeping attention, keeping tabs on the A side. But Blue Jays will get back to their winning ways, credit to their new blood.
Yeah, Laxi was one of the players on Akimbo that I honestly loved to watch when he was part of that roster. That team was really just hold W and push out and get really aggressive round after round, which doesn't necessarily showcase his potential as a player, but he's even better than that, especially when he has a great IGL like Cryptic calling around him. He's really adds a huge firepower piece to this Blue Jays roster, and they're going to win this round because of him.
Yeah, I think when you talk about that Akimbo roster and you're a North American hopeful, you're looking at that team and you're like, how do I take these players
Yes.
and find them into, like, kind of fit them into my system? That's the
Right.
real question. And Cryptic being one of the first ones to take the plunge and say, look, we've got to take a chance somewhere. And so far, they're reaping the rewards for it. You can already see that he doesn't look too off the leash to a point where he's overheating, but he's got the setup to still be that same level of brazenness in the server that is really paying off so far. And look at that.
There he goes
Straight
again.
away on a fruit cup as well.
I mean, Laxi does not shy away from those opening duels. That's why he's here. Looking for more now. B Wills and Darty charging up. Laxi will wait and connects easily on two more. I mean, this is just the anti-eco, of course, and he's taking care of business. One of the saved guns already eliminated. Ben Lead has the other. This round is, for all intents and purposes, likely over, especially if the Blue Jays decide to go in towards that B side. And actually, it doesn't matter where they go now. It's only Ben Leet left. And he is in the long doors.
I mean, he's just terrified around every corner. He wants to hold on to this gun so badly, but The Blue Jays have been running rampant here on Dust 2. Oh. You know, listen, if I'm Ben Lee in that situation, I wouldn't even shoot. But hey, he gets a second kill, maybe it's worth it at that point.
No, but the frags matter now. Don't forget, right? $50
Oh, that's
for all of your
true.
teammates
He's got
when you get kills.
$100. He
Yeah,
got $100.
exactly. We can't forget, and this is the difference maker in like the micro play of Counter-Strike now that I've been watching for is like, are the CTs going to hunt a little bit more in these type situations? And I mean, before that change, sure, Ben Lee probably would have just held his nerve and not shot, but now he's got the incentive to go for it with that bounty on the heads of the Blue Jays.
Yeah, and I think another good point is seeing like man-even retakes as well. Like,
Yeah.
if you see like a 3v3 in certain situations, sometimes if the money is fragile, the CTs won't rip the retake. But I've actually been seeing a lot more of that these days. Even if they don't have position, they still value that little bit of cash that you get, and there's a bit of motivation to go for it. So
Exactly.
I completely forgot about that change, but it's an important one, an important distinction to make because, I mean, yeah, maybe if we're talking about pre-update, he doesn't shoot there. Who knows?
Yeah. I think it's a great change, by the way. It's one of my favorite changes that
Oh,
they've done in
100%,
Counter-Strike,
yeah.
in a long time. Yeah. I think probably still need more. I don't know if it's enough to bolster the economy of the CTs, but time will tell. Maybe we just need a little bit more added on their side, but it's already such an intelligent balancing move from Valve. I like that RGB microphone that B-Wills has got going.
He's got the high tech. That's
Yeah.
sick.
That's pretty cool.
Oh my god, is that a Kim Jong?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are you doing, Brew Cup? What do you got going on there? All right, let's get back into it. Junior wins the duel with Slight this time. Gets his revenge, and then Cryptic finds the follow-up on Darty, even with the guns out. Haven't really seen much teeth from Boss. Oh,
Round over.
This is done.
Back it up. And I just love the snap decision. You kill the two mid players. There's nobody on B. There's no chance that there's anyone on B. Hold W. And it's that open runway into that B bomb site and another save. Op irretrievable, mind you. So it's just going to have to be these riflers. And even they're being hunted down, John. Oh my goodness. Fruit Cup doesn't even get a chance to shoot his gun off enough. Heroes will try his hardest, but takes a dink. And he's not long for this world. Nearly to that double-digit mark go Blue Jays. Dust 2 very quickly becoming in the rear-view mirror, and Boss cannot keep up with this pace.
Booster's ridiculous.
Thank you. Thank you again, production, for showing
Yeah.
that again. Needed that.
Rob's got it. Unreal. I don't understand. It's gonna be flashed on screen randomly now. All right, Rob. Let's settle down. 12th round of play. Blue Jays in full control. Slight does get another opener. That's helping. Classy the victim this time. We're on the other side looking for something towards B. Sees B-Wills for a moment, but can't connect on the shot. Blow away the smoke. Visibility gain, but no bodies in sight. So the Blue Jay is going to readjust the retention towards mid. Curious to see if Ben Lee's going to try pushing out there after that big frag was found towards long. But it looks like he just wants to wait and see if anyone pushes towards that direction.
Junior will at least have an alarm system here in middle to get any crossing players. Doesn't have to really commit to the shot or get the kill necessarily, but just getting the information will be big. If they want a mid to B split, it's still an option. Considering that AWP is deep long side. 50 seconds left on the clock. They've got a lot of options, Blue Jays, considering they've gotten up short as well. But they'll opt in for this mid B split, and they'll hope to count on Freshie here for that late lurk as well.
Good spam from Ben. They're still not up. Freshie will need to activate here. Cryptic's already made it towards the doors and moves in. Wants to win a fight. Laxi doesn't, so does Cryptic. B-Wills does manage to flush out Freshie. and then gets the
Oh.
frag on Cryptic. I thought he would have been dead and it would have been a trade, but no. 18 seconds left. Now Blue Jays have to get a move on. Junior gets a critical frag, but he's the last one standing in a 1v2. Grabs the AK off the ground, goes for a bit of spam at the door, pulls at the util at the wrong time, and Boss do indeed get a third on the board, salvaging something out of a first half that was largely, for them anyway, forgettable.
A bit indecisive there from Junior, and it costs him. All that being said, though, more decisiveness on the side of Boss, charging through that smoke and making sure that they've got a bit of a buddy system in that regard. Find a way to get it over the line there. Now can dictate the pace on their own terms. But a lot needed from Boss to right the ship here. Shining Light, I think very clearly I would look towards Slight. Doing great work in the op head-to-head. But that being said, you need players to facilitate more. You need more out of Fruit Cup. You need more out of Darty. And B-Wills as well just felt bullied on that B end.
Oh, we got a bit of a timeout called here. I think it might be technical in nature, but I hear typing, so I think everything's fine now. And we'll be ready to go with this pistol round. Yep. Match pause has ended. Round is underway. And we'll see if Blue Jays can continue their dominance. Oh, goodness me. This is going to be a running thing throughout the entirety of the event, I imagine now.
It never gets old.
No, it doesn't.
Never gets old.
It doesn't. Ben Lee, a couple of flashes going to get tossed here. I just can't believe he has the poster. Like, why? What's the reasoning behind it? I need to interview him and find out. Anyway. Darty moves out. Laxi waiting on the other side, and Laxi and Class are just cleaning up. Not allowing them to take a step towards that B site. Fruit Cup, last one standing, but this one has already been decided.
You think about the PrizePicks kill mark that Laxi has to hit, and he's beelining his way similar to Hex for that check mark. 17 and 5 now, with still a bit of Counter-Strike more to play.
I don't know how much longer this second half's going to last, though, with the pace that the Blue Jays are setting here. Fourteenth round of play, no buyout for Boss because they didn't get the bomb plant, so they're just going with the Glocks. Aside from Fruit Cup, who's got a PG-50. Making lots of noise here in the upper tunnels.
Oh,
Going to lower, Junior spots them, and Junior collects one, probably a second here, you'd imagine. Third might be too tall of an ask. He still gets it. Pulls out the pistol, and that'll do it for that attempt. Classia's got a beat on B-Wills. And, I mean, there's only so much you can do in these types of rounds.
nice.
Yeah.
Cheeky little spray transfer there for Classia. Holds down mouse 1, and it gets himself the 11th round for the Blue Jays. Bit of a tech timeout, I'd imagine, with Ben Lee disconnecting. But, as it stands, Blue Jays just look so dominant right now. 116 ADR from Laxi, the newest addition. And then you look down the line just of the rifling talent. You've really not had to say Classia's name all too often in this map.
Right.
But he's still had his couple of moments here and there with a couple of multis, and this roster starts to get quite dangerous, John.
Yeah, I think you've taken the Nouns roster and bolstered it even further with the addition of Laxi and Freshie, honestly.
And you got an organization too, which is
Right.
the icing on the cake.
Right. Absolutely. $11 to 3 for Blue Jays. Really, this is the last chance for Boss. This round right here. It's not impossible to come back from it, but the odds and percentage chance of that decreases immensely. It's going to be 12 to 3. 4 AKs,
Bold.
the Galil. Yeah.
Bold from Classia to just go spamming through that smoke. Especially with the A4, mind you, but isn't actually punished for it.
I think he's trying to bait them out into Cryptic's crosshair.
Yeah, that's also possible.
Junior's got the lineup for anyone who tries to move up here. I believe he got the spot, throws the incendiary. Blue Jays are trying to get as much information here as possible before the hit comes through. Junior, risky smoke. That's a risky smoke. Getting the information just gained. Junior does get the trade, but that's not good enough. 2 frags over for the boss side. Laxey's got a lot on his shoulders. He delivers again. You just can't stop him. Slight goes for the engagement, and finally he does put a stop to Laxey, but not without a cost to his HP bar as he's down to 52.
Now it's up to Freshie and Classia to find this 2-on-2. And look at this, man. Classia just charging his way up long. Instantly has the opportunity at a trade and finds Darty straight away. Slight now tasked in the 1-on-2, and he gets blindsided by Freshie. Map point found for Blue Jays, and it's just domination even in the clutch. Can't do anything wrong, can the Blue Jays, and it just feels like an unwinnable circumstance for Boss.
Yeah, and I love the confidence from the Blue Jays too, right? Oftentimes you see players taking their time, clearing their corners, and no, not for Classia and Freshie. They immediately just beeline it towards long and short and take the fights without any hesitation at all. In particular, Classia, I mean, you have the information, right? You know the players are moving up towards that bomb site, and they kind of have to get the bomb planted. So you got everything you need to make a quick and decisive play. That's exactly what they do. 9 opportunities for the Blue Jays to close out this map and send us to the second one. Bentley get the opener, traded out immediately by Laxey, who has been so good towards long. 20-6 now.
Now, in the 4-on-4, what do Boss do? Can Garner short control, but when they gain space, they lose it as well on the long end. And meanwhile, Junior still wreaking havoc here in middle. Isn't traded out at all.
Jeez.
Darty can't catch him in any point of that engagement, and Junior will surge forward. Unfearful. Why would you be fearful? You've got Laxey charging down long.
Oh my
He's got
God.
a couple of backs turned, and he's going to knock these pins down. Finds Darty for 1, and Slight barely holds on for dear life, but look at how much damage these T's are taking. It's just 120 HP between the 2 players. Make it 1. Bomb dropped. It's all on the Fruit Cup in the 1-on-3.
What do you got, Fruit Cup? Can you do it? See if he gets the first. Trying to engage here with Classia. Classia throws. What did he throw on the ground? Was it
his
pistols?
dualies.
Oh my God. All right, Classia, having a little bit too much fun, as he is known to do in these types of situations. 13-3 though, in favor of the Blue Jays. Never was really in doubt, and I kind of expected it to be though, because it's Dust 2. You don't really have to worry as much about the calling, but the Blue Jays, Laxey in particular, overpowered them mechanically, which is something that will obviously benefit you on a puggy map like this.
Yeah, I think I had just a little bit more hope for the Boss side, just because it doesn't take too much integration for a Bentley to come to a map like Dust 2 and potentially try to integrate something. But that being said, yeah, I think you got to give every commendation to Laxey in this map for the Blue Jay side. Just so much domination in terms of the openings on that T side, and then just the way that he was able to lock down the B end on that pistol as well. Pretty much sealed the deal for me in that sense. I mean, you look at the kills here, 21 to round it out. PrizePicks kills look at 30, so just 9 kills away from getting that check mark. And I think that all that being said, things look very, very bright for the Mongolian moving forward in this tournament.
Yeah, and Junior good for 15. I told you guys. He's always good for those 15.
We'll always
frags.
hit it.
Yeah, I mean, almost always. He's so consistent in North America. And I mean, it's going to be, that's why his PrizePicks frag estimate is a little bit higher, because, you know, he's going to have to pop off a little bit maybe on the next map of Ancient. And this is interesting, right? Let's talk about, well, actually, we have to check out the frag totals for Boss first before we talk about Ancient. And this is why I was kind of forgetting about it. It wasn't good. It was unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nobody reaching double-digit kills. I think this is a sight for sore eyes and something that I don't think any Boss fan would like to see in the near future. So we'll throw the cameras back on us
Yeah.
so we can ignore it. We
Let's
can
forget
put it
about
out of
that
sight,
one.
out of mind, and we can look towards the following map, right? And say that Ancient, it's that big conundrum because, again, as I mentioned in the pre-show, Ben Lee, not necessarily the most stellar caller on this map across his tenure on the Party Astronauts. But Boss, as a organizationless organization, have been so good on this map for years. I just feel like they understand how to play mid-round situations, play late-round situations. And I think this is where Fruit Cup does his best work. I just really enjoy watching how he works on that mid position. So I would love to see just a little bit more out of him. I will continue to speak his name till the cows come home, John. He's the end-all, be-all win condition for this roster.
Yeah, I think he's a fantastic player as well, and I believe that on Ancient you're right, especially with how important mid control is and how important winning those fights is. Yeah, we got more to say about Ancient, guys, but before we do, we're gonna hit a quick break. All right, we're back here with some more Prize Picks NA Revival Series number 7 action, second map of play. So far, we've just had a lot of blowouts here, unfortunately. I don't know if this one's going to get any closer, though. Paladin, I know you said that Boss have some good performances on Ancient in the past, but in my mind, given the way that first map played out and the changes to this Boss roster, including the IGL being swapped out, and now they're trying to get Ben Lee to help them out here in the Prize Picks NA Revival Series, I honestly don't know. And you look over on the Blue Jays, right? They had a 3-game win streak on this map against Notorious Fluxo and In Control. Didn't ended up losing to Fluxo afterwards, but I think they're a very good Ancient team as well. Even when they were with the Nouns core, Junior was always very strong on this map, and now you have Laxi joining up. I don't know if I see it. I really don't.
Yeah, and I think the worst part is that they've got the better IGL. The Cryptic is fantastic on this map, especially in the mid rounds. I can pretty much always back him to make the right decision. And you've got more players that have bought into his playstyle, and Freshie as who has been his right-hand man for ages at this point. So that kind of duo alone, you slot in whoever you want, and I'm still taking Blue Jays in a lot of these circumstances, just on the nature of knowing that I have a rifler that is going to commit to the idea, and I have an IGL that really understands the map very well. And as you mentioned, Junior is fantastic on Ancient. So I think that core alone begs the question of who it's got to be on the Boss end. And I think it's a very cut and dry answer. It has to be Fruit Cup. I think I look towards other places, and maybe Ben Leet in the cave, who might take over Sauce's duties that we saw previously. But I think that is the kind of crux as to how the CT side of Boss is going to have to succeed on this map.
Yeah, and don't panic, guys. We didn't just cut away from the gameplay. It's just a knife round or fake knife coming through as we get ready to get going on the pistol round. But yeah, no, I agree. Look, looking at the other side on Boss, up against a team like Golden Horde, who are more tier 3, you kind of expect them to come out with a cleaner win, and that one took 2 overtimes for them to get the victory there, 19-16. Then against Getting Info, actually that was pretty good, right? They pushed 24 rounds, lost 11-13. There's still something here for Boss, and I do agree with you in that regard, that these players are good enough that even without necessarily having an IGL supporting them throughout the EPL qualifiers, they were still able to perform on that map and even get a victory. I just feel like the Blue Jays bring a different level of competition. I think that, even Getting Info in the qualifiers are still trying to find themselves. I think Snav just recently rejoined that roster, so they're trying to settle in as well. This is a Blue Jays roster that is practiced. They have that line experience playing up against a team like Fluxo and winning that one. They didn't win the second engagement, which is tough, but still, like, they had some clean wins on Ancient. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I just don't know if Boss can keep up.
And the worst part for Boss is that Laxi already looks comfortable. Like, he doesn't look worried at all at this level of the game, which is just so impressive to me that a youngster like that can feel disengaged into a team and this drilled into the team's foundation this quickly. But he seems ready for the big stages as we get into Ancient now. Winner go home for Boss on their own map pick, and a real test for Ben Leet out the gates with this new roster. Smoke two of them actually from Slight and Ben Leet, Molly double flash, and have their eyes set initially on this B bomb site.
This is where the Blue Jays are ready, though. 3 players standing at attention. Darty moves out. Doesn't hard clear the corner. Cubby's vulnerable. Laxi is happy to oblige with 1, almost 2, but Slight manages to react quickly enough to ensure that's all the damage he does. That said, Freshie spamming on through. So is Junior. He's so good through the smoke, just lining them up nicely, picking the right angles. Fruit Cup will get a response, and we're still down to even numbers at a 2v2. Boss would really love a pistol round victory if they can get it, but Classy has other plans. So does Junior. Classy going to stick to defusal, and I don't think Fruit Cup expects it. Maybe he does. Oh, just the nick of time, and then Classia adds salt to the wound with the frag onto Fruit Cup after squeezing that defusal in.
Did he duck there? Did he duck past the headshot there? That was fantastic work from Classia. And I mean, we talk about prodigies within North American the more North American region, and how, you know, who is the guy that we're supposed to look towards to kind of lift up in the near future. And Classy has been on everybody's tongues for so long. It just feels like he just never found that home where he felt comfortable in. But I just feel like with how long he's been on the Blue Jays roster, that maybe he's found that home now, John.
I hope so too. And I think also the off the server antics were a bit of a problem for Clasia. And I think there were other issues that weren't necessarily related to his performance. So yeah, I'm really hoping for the same thing, that this is that he's matured and that everything has lined up for him to potentially be a star on this Blue Jays roster with an IGL that I think you said it before, can rein him in and rein anyone in, including, you know, Laxi.
And having a captain like that is massive in this day and age. I mean, our region has so many different personalities and feels like so much clashing happens across all these various teams. But it does feel like the buy-in from an IGL like Cryptic has been high from any team that he's played with. Any player that he's played with really loves the way that he leads a roster. And fortunately, he's finally found an organization that appreciates him as well, being orgless for quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
And even with the whole Nouns fiasco with funding and making sure that they were actually getting a salary, really just was bogged down by a lot of out-of-server stuff, and now doesn't have to worry about any of that. He's got the roster he's looking for, and now just wants to buckle down and get those tournament wins.
Love to be competitive with M80, for example, here in this tournament, or wildcard potentially, depending on how things go. Freshie is going to get the opener onto Darty, so that's another good start here for this Blue Jay squad. Boss off the bomb plant will force up, and Fruit Cup gets a response. The MAC-10 sings for B-Wills. He'll manage to get one back, and it's going back and forth here as it stands. Once the dust settles, 2v1 in favor of the Blue Jays. B-Wills is all the way towards the back of bomb site B, but the problem is he doesn't have the bomb in his possession. He's going to have to go chase that down with a player watching, that player being Classy.
Good Molotov to push him back. Gives that little bit of a chance here for B-Wills to scoop up that bomb. And with 55 seconds left on the clock, he can really slow the clock down. Slow the pace down, rather. As he backs away. Considers this A site. And, I mean, look, the runway is available. Finally, Classy starts moving over, and Cryptic actually offers up a back. But how aware is he of how close Classy is to him is the real question. I mean, legitimately so close by. And nearly tries to drop the bomb planter, but oh my goodness, he rips the W key a little too early there. And B-Wills catches him out. Beautiful 1v3 to capture, and all of a sudden, Blue Jays look red-faced.
Yeah, nice job from B-Wills, honestly. 1v2 that he manages to pull off for himself, and Cryptic had the right idea, pushing up and taking that space, but B-Wills was ready for it, and not really much damage done by Cryptic. And after that, I agree with you. Classia needed to be more patient. The opportunity to charge at B-Wills while he's planting the bomb was already lost. I think if he just walks there, there's no chance that B-Wills expects him to be in that space so quickly. But because he makes noise, people's like, oh, okay, well, obviously know he's here. He takes care of it. So great recovery from Boss on the force buy. That's going to trigger Blue Jays to go on a force buy of their own. But already some signs of life from Boss that we didn't really see on that previous map, although they'll have to follow it up with a little bit more. Junior, with that deagle, can be a scary customer. He's waiting, and Freshie's right by his side with a 5-7. Oh, as I say it, there's the headshot onto Darty.
And now, what do you do if you're Boss? Do you want to continue to press the issue here in middle? It seems like that's the case. They've gotten a couple of kills to back it up, but Junior continues to fight valiantly, but blown to smithereens. It's Classy on the back of the A bomb site, and he comes up with nada. Just Cryptic up on this flank, but someone's already watching it. Guns are recoverable, but it's MAC-10s. Their helmets on the other end. That weapon is useless. And now that he's spotted, it becomes a nightmare to try to dig himself out of it. And Fruit Cup is there to chime in. Boss quelled a force buy. And Blue Jays will have to bend the knee, take the eco here. Slowly but surely, man, Boss getting a little bit more momentum into their sails. And the players that you're looking to wake up absolutely are.
Yeah, Fruit Cup, we've always mentioned him as a player that can be very impactful for this Boss roster. He's getting it going. And B-Wills, who was a star in his own right a few years ago, right? I don't know if he was necessarily with Nouns, maybe a little earlier than that, but he's a player that, you know, took the helm in terms of stats for a lot of teams throughout his career. So he's certainly got that dog in him. See if he can run it back and continue being at this level up against Blue Jays on Ancient. Will be an eco here. First time the Blue Jays have had to take an eco here in this series. Junior, the deagle in his hands, hoping to collect a few more headshots, but outside of that, it's just the stack on the B site with USPs.
Crazy to think about that it is their first eco in the series.
Yeah.
Shows you how dominant they were on Dust 2. Any bits and bobs of damage that they could get here would be nice. They've caught a little bit of a window here onto Fruit Cup and Slight. Fruit Cup will hit the deck, and Slight also on notice here, but stalling out for a long period of time. Gets Darty back over into the middle position. And Laxi might have one more kill on a platter here. Oh, okay, just manages to skate past B-Wills. And Laxi will get that last remaining kill before he hits the deck. So 3 rounds the good for Boss. But a couple casualties keep their economy on notice.
I honestly like that play from Laxi in the trigger discipline. I think he could have gotten closer. I think he could have gone for more of an execution frag towards the bomb planter there because Ben wasn't really looking in that direction. And then pick up the AK immediately and have a chance for the second frag. And a better shot at an eco round clutch. But, you know, despite that, they do get a couple of frags, so it's not too bad. And forcing Boss to buy up a little bit. Anyway, on to the guns again for Blue Jays. Although we don't have the op out, it will be a couple of FAMASs and 3 A1Ss. Blue Jays are apt to get aggressive into mid. Laxi in particular, you'd expect to see him a little bit, but right now he's hunkered down in Donut. Ooh, there's a K fight coming. Cryptic. He's going to have his hands full, and he gets the first one. Slight right behind B-Wills, but he doesn't have the timing to get that trade. Wants to throw the nade instead, and Cryptic is taken very low in terms of health. And in the meantime, Laxi is flushed out of Donut.
That's a big move, but look at Junior surging forward to fill that hole. How aware are they of somebody that's this aggressive at this point? They're going to have to clear it from multiple angles. Shadow advantage available there for Junior, but gets blindsided regardless. Darty with a huge kill to find. And this A-bomb site is open for business. Bomb should eventually make its way over, but it's coming in from the main side. If Freshy was willing to stick around, maybe he would have had a kill offered up, but Ben Leach should have an easy route through. Smoke in for good measure. Cryptic and Freshy combined to find that late lurk of Slight, so they could potentially have a look in considering there's a kit up, but there's a lot of ground here that they have to cover, John.
I'm just surprised it took Boss so long to get that bomb planted. They had control of that A site for a good 10 seconds before the bomb goes down. Now, look at this. No. Cryptic and Freshy get a couple immediately on Darty and Ben, who are trying to double swing, but it yields nothing. Through cup alone, it's done. Blue Jays back on the board. Like I said, if that bomb was planted a little bit earlier, then pressure would have been on for the Blue Jays still having to deal with that flank that was, or I should say the lurk that was around. But instead, they get rid of the lurk. They go back towards the A site. Bomb is planted. And they have plenty of time to go for the retake and don't lose a single body there. Freshy with the 3K, and Blue Jays have a second.
And I actually think that the reason why it takes so long is that the bomb is dropped far away. Bentley's got to grab it, and he's got to cross over through that CT spawn. Should he potentially die, in their mind, they're thinking, we might not have time to plant the bomb. But that one critical mistake gives just enough of a door for the Blue Jays to go running through. They're going to try this aggressive hand at the mid-take yet again. Fruit Cup on Laxi. This head-to-head is an exciting one, to say the least. And this time Laxi comes out the better of it. 4-on-4, but the B-bomb site is under threat.
Yeah, I mean, already controlled by Boss at this stage. Cryptic trying to come in for a ramp flank. Boss just running through the smoke, falls to the wall, and B-Wills punishes that immediately. I'm going to get planted a lot faster in this round. Cryptic, as mentioned, working his way into ramp. But, I mean, look how close Slight is. With an op from that range, you have to be perfect. If you miss the shot, it's over. But he won't have to worry about missing a shot because the Blue Jays decide to pull away from the bomb site here, realizing their chances of victory are low and their economy is not great. Bit of a chase from Ben. Junior fires off a shot, throws the incendiary. Cares more about keeping this op safe than getting a frag there.
Yeah, there's enough cash between Laxi and Cryptic that a buy is available in the following. But Boss showing a little gumption and a little bit more decisiveness than that of Just 2, where you see the opening come through for the T side and they try to compound on that. Try to continue the aggression into these bomb sites and make sure that they can play the post plans as swiftly as possible. With a little bit of a tech issue, but for right now, you're starting to see just a bit more as to why Boss are a bit more of an exciting roster than Just 2 might have suggested.
What is this? All right.
I gotta say, the Flom land pictures just hit different.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, goodness me. I think we lost a couple of cams there, and Rob's trying to fill the void with multiple floms. But, yeah, no, I mean, look, this has been a great map out of the gate for Boss. I mean, they win the following round after losing Pistol. Get 3 in a row off of that. Sure, they get denied in round number 5, but then the immediate response and the follow-up means that, they're in control right now. And the Blue Jays are going to have to fight back into it. Did manage to get 3 guns saved out of that previous round, 2 of them AKs. As we wait to get going here, just an update on the other match that's happening there between Wildcard and Might. Wildcard have won map number 1, 13-5. And it's 20 frags, 20 bomb for Friend with 105 ADR, and Sonic behind him at 16 frags and 101.7 ADR.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want to see for a tournament like this. Your stars shining. And listen, I know everybody looking at that bracket is frothing at the mouth to see a Wildcard M80 final. At least I know I am.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to see how Wildcard will fare against M80 with the changes they've made to the roster now, especially with Stand back. Anyway, Slight's going to get the opener. Fruit Cup another. This is another round that's gone the way of Boss in the early goings. They just take that aggression towards mid, win the fights, and then fall off of it. So they've given Blue Jays so much to think about. No one's on the A site. This will be a free bomb plant unless Blue Jays realize the space that has been lost, which they don't. Not in time, anyway. That'll might do it for the round. Oh, what a smoke pop for Junior. And then the shot into B-Will's definitely in less now because he's managed to open up enough of a gap for himself to maneuver in towards Catacombs.
And now they're going to try to dive into the cave or the donut side as well. Trade is good, but they're running out of bodies. Freshie has got to double down somehow, some way. Or Junior has got to crack open the A main side of things, and they're not fancying their chances. Both of them back away. They've done enough damage, and maybe they can do some more in the round following. But Boss are punishing a couple of mistakes there in middle. It did feel like the tethering was a bit off for the CT side. Caught in no man's land on a couple positions, and Slight, Ben Lee, they both capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, Laxi, who was so good on Dust 2, has really been silent in the early goings here of Ancient. That's been the difference maker for the Blue Jays. As Boss, like you mentioned, they're also punishing. Every time the Blue Jays try to take that aggression towards mid, they've got the counter punch. Good flashes coming through. Better on the shots. And here, Blue Jays are going to save their money, but they will upgrade a little bit. MP9. Deagle on the 5-7 around the saved AWP and M4, which is certainly enough to get a round victory. Just the util being as light as it is a problem. So you're just going to have to win these dry fights and maybe take some aggression to get them. Ben's waiting for that. Oh, timing's not good. Util goes out. Freshie takes the chance, and Ben is ready for the fight, despite it being a little on his back foot.
Ooh, and they have to disassemble the boost as well. That flashbang is well placed. Cryptic will have his chance with Slight and win the duel regardless. Massive to win. And Laxi, meanwhile, on the MP9 has found another straggling T. Junior now gets activated with the AWP, and this just goes from bad to worse from Boss. Death by 1,000 paper cuts.
I mean, they did what they had to with the limited buy-up, right? They went for the fights early on, and they managed to, despite losing Freshie, get the trades and the Deagle doing work from Cryptic into Cave. Means that now they have a 4v2 in their favor. Darty and Ben Leet, the last two standing. Ben with the op in his hands. He is the secondary op usually on party action, so he can use it. There's one, but not the second. Cryptic just shuts him down, puts him 10 feet under. Or 6 feet under. Darty will get back and find the headshot. 17 HP with 23 seconds on the clock, though.
Now, he does have every bit of room to get that bomb down. When does that penny drop for the Blue Jay side that it is on this end is the question. Darty's still paranoid that they're already reading into this. But finally, he'll punch in the digits. How close Junior is, how aware is he? The P250 switch up, they were aware that he was tagged. And Blue Jays will nab themselves a third, and a very unlikely third round win, but they'll take it nonetheless.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's on the round where we expected the least from them, and they pull it off. Right, they only had those 2 rifles saved through, but one of them, Junior, getting an op frag critically, and then he pulls out the pistol to finish off Darty, who I believe had confirmed damage onto him, so Junior knew he was low, and he wins the duel. Third round picked up for the Blue Jays. That is not the breath of life you want to give them if you're Boss, given what happened on that first map. You want to keep control for the entirety of this first half, but that is not going to be afforded to them should they lose this next round. If they win it here, they'll be okay. Maybe they can run down. If not, the Blue Jays are right back into it. The Blue Jays have pulled it back a little bit on the aggression towards mid. They want to play more onto the sights, although Cryptic, timing is right out of Jag. He could do some damage. Just goes for the spam, though. Throws a smoke. And it continues to try and pepper away at the potential bodies beyond that wall.
But this late mid control could spell disaster for the Blue Jays, but Laxi's now finally let off the leash. He chimes in with Junior. 2 massive kills to get, and all of a sudden, Boss feel hung out to dry. I mean, they might still be able to get that mid control, but it might be too little too late. Instead, Ben Lee will try to move back over to the cave and catch Cryptic with his pants down. Unfortunately, Classia will respond in kind. Now Laxi up to bat once again, but Slight finds the opening incision. This A-bomb site's open for business, and Junior has his work cut out for him.
He has to be careful not to over-aggressive. Now he's got the support of his rifle.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness, that is so much damage taken from Malta. Doesn't really matter because he's the opper, so he's okay. But still, you don't want to have that low HP. Got Fruit Cup around the corner. Notice they're here. Fruit Cup can't do anything because Freshie has stepped up to the plate and hit it out of the park with a 2K third. Make that 4th round picked up from the Blue Jays, and that is not good news for Boss. Money is a little bit tight on their side, so they can justify a half buy, but a full investment may be a bridge too far, as we got a timeout called from Boss off of that. They know what's happening and what could be potentially slipping out of their fingers.
Yeah, I mean, it was never going to be an easy task in a 3v5, especially considering how much space Laxi was given. And now, Boss with no money. I guess you can do a Hero AK situation with Slight on 4.8k, but if you also want to opt in for that AWP in the following, I mean, you can just take a save instead. But for right now, Blue Jays are in a great position to put the slow start behind them.
Light is gone. Yep, that's a perfect start for Classia. The rest of Blue Jays, Junior nails B-Wolves to the wall. Laxi takes care of it. I mean, Bentley's managed to swing together and find a frag throughout the mix, but that won't really matter. Laxi gets his second, and it's all Blue Jays in the end to Eco. We are tied up at 5 after what looked like a strong start for Boss. 5-2. Everything is going their way, and now the Blue Jays are right back into it, looking for a 6th here, but it will be a buy-up again for Boss.
A lot hinging on this one for both teams, really. I mean, just having just a bit more momentum moving forward. Obviously, Blue Jays will still have enough cash in the tank, but for Boss, you don't want to give up a 7-5 half after all the great work that you did to grind this game into your favor. Now, Classy has gotten very aggressive here. He's gotten very aggressive and has to get out of dodge. Luckily, he's got a Guardian Angel behind him. Junior clips the wings of Ben Leet, and now a 5v4 in round number 11.
It would be such an unfortunate circumstance if Boss end up not going to the second half with the lead after being so good in the early moments. Really crushed their confidence. Classia with the M4 and Donut may be able to get one here if he plays his cards right. And it looks like he is. Oh, B-Will's down to half health. Classia doesn't get connected on for much. He'll back off of that flashbang. Go back towards the A site, which is the correct play because he's got Junior right by his side, and Junior collects Darty.
And look at this, man. They're backing away from the A bomb site, at least temporarily. They're going to recongregate back over to the temple. An opportunity here to completely catch Boss off guard. So much damage done from Classy, but no kill. Even more damage done from Laxi. And now Junior, the only player nearby that has to deal with this situation, nails Slight. And it's just B-Wills with 2 HP. The chance opened up from Boss, ripped away, and Blue Jays will shut it down. Junior on a tear with this ace.
Oh, unbelievable stuff from Junior. I mean, doing it all with the AWP, the pistol afterwards. He is looking phenomenal on Ancient. We already mentioned it before. He loves this map. He's always been good on it, even back in his days with that Nouns core, and he continues to be so here. 15 frags on the board. He leads the server by a significant margin. The closest player is Fruit Cup at 10. But the Blue Jays, an opportunity now, especially given the buyout for Boss, to take a 7-5 lead into the second half of Ancient, which didn't look like a possibility with the way this one started, but here we are. Boss sending 4 players around that B site. Cryptic getting aggressive into Jag. He's been very good from this position when tested. At least in critical moments, even though the frag
Ooh. Deeper nade, deeper flash. I think Boss were expecting maybe a different setup in that situation, but either way, they're going to say, screw that, we're just going to go charging into this B bomb site, and that's where Cryptic does some of his best work, finds one, but can't string that one together. Bomb plant is available. Look at how much damage is being done to these smokes. What a flick over from Freshie on the P250. B-Wills will find a trade back, but the rest of the cavalry has arrived. It's just Darty left up on the 1v3, and he can't find anything. And look at that kill transition there. It's a 5-2 lead for Boss, ripped away into a 7-5 lead for Blue Jays at the tail end.
Yeah, 5 in a row, 5 unanswered round victories coming through from the Blue Jays. That flick was so fast from Freshie. I thought it came from, the frag came from another player. I didn't think it was Freshie who got that.
Yeah.
Wild stuff. Match going to be paused here. Technical timeout going to be called. I think Fruit Cup was gone. Now he's back. We're good to go. But either way, that is fantastic for the Blue Jays, who already looked really good on their T side of Dust 2, and now they're switching over to T side of Ancient. I mean, it's not the best CT side, but 7-5 is absolutely serviceable. I mean, going to the second half of action. Let's see what Boss can bring to the table. Looking at Boss's CT round win percentage, it's sitting at 64.7%, which is very high. They are much better on their CT side than they are T side. But it's interesting because the Blue Jays, the opposite is true here, Paladin. 61.4% win percentage on T side for the Blue Jays and only 44% on CT side. So both teams technically on their better sides now.
I will say for Boss, when I think about why they have to win so much on their CT side, is because their T side usually isn't up to the mark, at least at the start of this next season, considering they don't have an IGL. So they've had to do a lot of heavy lifting. When I think back to the game they had against the Golden Horde, it was really their CT side where they had to bring back some Herculean deficits. And now the deficit isn't so bad. 2 rounds is not the worst whatsoever, but now you've got to go up against Cryptic's Calling, and that might be a completely different test to that of what they face in the EPL quals.
Yeah.
And look at how much utility that Blue Jays have off rip.
I was going to say, and also the T side for Getting Horde isn't, Golden Horde is not as good as the T side for Blue Jays here on Ancient. So let's see what Boss can bring to the table. They haven't won a pistol round yet, I believe. Slight will get the first onto Laxi. Freshie gets the response, and they've got control of this B site. They're funneling in the direction of Cryptic. Oh, misses the shots, can't get anything. That'll be trouble because Darty finds the next one onto Freshie. Only 2 players left, now 1. Junior's gonna have to pop off. 1v4, he's done it before on pistol round. Very good in these types of situations. Finds one, the second, not the third. They just crunch in on him. Boss will win the pistol.
It takes quite a bit of work to get there. I mean, the boldness from B-Wills to fight in the flames like that is commendable. That 1 kill basically secures the round, but if they stick around, maybe hang behind that Molotov with the lack of kit as well, things get slowed down. You know, T's can get jostled into some stronger post-plant positions, and maybe we have a different outcome, but Boss toppled the post-plant very well. And instantly the Blue Jays want to respond in kind. They want to start their own force buy wars here on the offense. An AK for Junior, who has really come a long way in his rifling as his career has developed. So very lethal on this gun, despite no sniper.
I think it started with CS2, honestly, because he couldn't rely on his op as much, especially in the early moments of CS2's release. So he got a lot better on the rifle. Junior taking a fight here into cave, but he's smoked off. Blue Jays, how much utility? They have a decent amount. I mean, they went for the Mac 10s and the pistols instead of upgrading to Galil's potentially on this force buy, so it allows them to have more utility to go for an execution. And they're just hanging back.
They're really just waiting to pounce on a Junior entry is what it's looking like. They're letting Junior probe. They're letting Laxi probe now as well as he gets into the red room. Slight has an opportunity to re-clear this position, but fearful. They have no real eyes to suggest what's going on this end. It's really Fruit Cup jiggling here. And Junior has another opportunity but can't capitalize. Time is being whittled down slowly but surely. 40 seconds left. And Junior still has not been able to get activated in this round here. Instead, it's going to have to be Freshie. And Fruit Cup does his job. He does his job to find 2 and drops the bomb as well.
I don't know if this is over yet, though, as Laxi finds 1 and Classy another 2v2. HP's low for Ben. Easy clean for Laxi here, and there it is. Darty, last one standing. He's got control of the bomb. 15 seconds. They need the frag. They can't wait for this. They have to take the fight to Darty, and he knows it. He's pinched in. Gets first one. Can he get the second? He can! Darty! Absolutely massive in the 1v2. Thought he was done for, but not on that round. 7-7.
Making sure that he takes those fights on his own terms. I think in so many situations, maybe in like CSGO, you might be a little bit more fearful to take such a swing, but just that boldness from Darty to take the A-sided fight first before engaging to Donut was massive. There was just no way to coordinate that fight if Darty swings first. And with that, Blue Jays want to double dip. They want to force buy again, considering it came down to the 1v1, and I don't blame them. But look at this utility damage critical nades being tossed down range from these CTs, and they're going to execute straight into this B bomb site.
What a
Cryptic's
flash.
entries are fantastic, but yes, those flashbangs even better.
The juniors in particular, I mean, I guess that... Oh, Fruit Cup's getting caught off here. Freshie almost had that. Might be able to finish it off. Fruit Cup still got that 2 HP, and he manages to get Classia before dying. The problem is still a 4v2. There are guns everywhere. Blue Jays are going to get upgrades. And I think Boss are already not interested with this. So I would imagine if they can save these 2 guns, Force Spy is going to be on again. For Boss this time. Blue Jays are... I don't want to say they're hunting, because they really shouldn't be. Freshie is gone. They just need to keep their guns. And Slight managed to get a couple. That's an extra $100 in the bank for himself and the rest of his squad, as Blue Jays will walk away with an AK and an M4. Should be able to buy up full rifles here with the 2 guns coming through. And on the other side, Boss, will they force is the question. I mean, money's
They
kind
have
of
to.
low. Yeah, you're right.
And I think the reason why is you see Darty with 4K, Slight making enough cash with the SMG kills and the kill reward that the buy honestly doesn't look horrendous. But all things being said, it's a very do or die situation for Boss. This is potentially 10 rounds that could be racked up for the Blue Jays.
Well, Boss do get the opener. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. It's a big risk for Boss to go for this, but also I feel like they have to, like you were saying before, just because of the way this match has played, feels like whoever wins the Force Spy Wars will have the advantage, and you don't want to rescind without giving it your best shot, and that's what Boss are doing right now. Fruit Cup takes a lot of damage in the engagement there to find that frag. He's down to 6 HP. And Blue Jays still have plenty of time to try and get something going. They need a response. Need to find some space with a frag. Smoke thrown for Red Room. And Slight's going to hang out right beyond it. Does he push through it is the question. Does he have the flash? He does. He can flash himself out. Oh, Ben's in trouble.
Yeah, that's a good nade. That's a good nade to soften him up. And Freshie actually pushes beyond the Molotov before it extinguishes itself. And Ben Lead gets every sound cue to take that engagement. Classia still knows that he's pinned against the wall here, but he can't do anything about it. Nobody's giving any bit of face here. And the jig is up. The 3rd rotation is through. Boss should have this round under lock and key, you'd like to think. And yeah, B-Rolls is there for the trade on that 5-7. And it's just Junior left up in the clutch. 1v4 needed in total. 20 seconds left on the clock. Crossfires aplenty. Smoking off the long side. Has a chance to take the engagement on the short side. And is given the fight, but can't win the duel. Darty there, again with some impact on the other end. Boss equalize and snap the money again.
Yeah, and there's 3 AKs brought out of that. I don't know. Blue Jays are going to call a timeout to talk things over. I was just wondering in my mind, do they go for the Force Spy again, given that that was kind of their buy-up, and there's a chance still to kind of wrestle control away from Boss. But the fact is they had 3 players left standing. Laxy's going to get his PrizePicks checkmark, and actually Junior did as well, which isn't necessarily a surprise since he had 15 on the first map and already 19 here. But I think the more important discussion is, what do Blue Jays do in this situation? Looks like a half buy will be the call, and I don't necessarily mind it. Money's not great. Boss managed to win the momentum, wrestle it away from the Blue Jays. So they're going to have to take a knee.
Listen, their pop onto that A bomb site looked pretty good, even on the B end as well, with the Tech 9s on the cross smokes being through, and as long as they were able to cut down the distance, Cryptic was able to provide some significant entries. But for right now, still a bit more of a default spread, just charging down the lane, taking front jag control, pushing B-Wills back, and he takes significant damage but can't find the frag. They are going to test his B-bomb site again, but Freshie takes significant damage along the Molotov. No trade potential off of Cryptic's Deeg. And Darty's now here to chime in on the other end. So Boss could strict the T side, and they never let it spiral out of control. They jostle back the lead. But the guns will come back now out for the Blue Jays.
That was actually a really good incendiary toss from Slight to support B-Wills, right? Because in that moment, B-Wills could have been overrun by the Tech 9s who could have been charging through, but instead Slight holds them back and allows B-Wills to take care of business with the bullets from a nice distance. So, 9th round for Boss. They've got the lead again. Rifles are out for the Blue Jays. It's not the best. You got 3 Galils here and 2 AKs, but they wanted to ensure that the util was present in a significant manner. I don't think that smoke hit the mark as they wanted it to for Red Room either. There's a big gap on top of it. So, mid-control will be a little harder for them should they decide to go in that direction. Ben's being engaged with here. Might just be some smoke spam that's coming through. But either way, Blue Jays, they've got that mid-control. No one's really challenging for it just yet. You do have Slight in the vicinity, but he's got the AK, not the op, and now he's going to be smoked off again. This smoke is good. Whew.
Spam just off the mark there to complete the kill at least. But look at this. Proactivity from Darty to cut the map in half. But Laxi's still the snake in the grass. He still has an opportunity of potentially finding some impact, and Laxi's considering the aggression to come in from the CT side, and he still readjusts. How in the hell does he readjust like that is my question. And he's going to continue to try and sell Boss down the river on the A side. But with that kill...
No, it works.
Maybe, yeah, they're going to still come. They're going to still come over to this A bomb site. They're going to try to push Fruit Cup back, and they still find the entry. Bomb should be able to go down. But B-Wills is here. B-Wills is here, and so is Slight. The bomb gets denied, and that should be round over. Maybe overcomplicating things, dude. The Blue Jays go there, and they'll have to suffer the consequences.
Oh, man, they should have gone B. That was a B play all the way. They were almost on the site, so you just have to kind of charge in and take the rest of the space. Instead, they're like, oh, maybe they'll think it was a fake because they realize only one player's there. So they essentially outplay themselves to the Blue Jays in that round by reverting their intentions towards the A site. Anyway, timeout going to be called here. Perhaps technical again. Yes, it is. Ben Leet's gone. He'll be back shortly. But yeah, that's a round where it felt like Blue Jays had everything they needed and they just made the wrong play.
And now again, the dreaded half buy necessary for Blue Jays. Running out of runway here on this T side. All that dominance from Dust 2 is now heavily in the rearview mirror. And we see Inferno drawing closer and closer. Feels like the players that we wanted to show up today for Boss on Ancient have. B-Rolls with some significant impact, so does Fruit Cup. But for Blue Jays, it's a little less of that impact. You haven't seen the game-breaking rounds from Laxi. It really has just been the junior show in a lot of ways, it feels like.
I think Blue Jays need to simplify things. They're going to do that here. Just charging straight towards the B site. No hesitation at all. Freshy gets one while blinded. Slight will manage to collect a couple of scalps. Ben leads still towards this B site. He's got Darty on the other side. So it will be under control here unless they can't finish off Junior, which they're having a little bit of trouble with. But they will eventually take care of it. 11th round secured. Here comes Blue Jays' last chance to really get back into this one. AKs across the board. Utils there as well. Let's see if they can deny. I'd be surprised if Boss don't drop an op here. I feel like Ben should give it to Slight. Maybe Slight wants to run the rifle. Okay, I mean, I guess they're feeling good about their rifling. They've got the money, but choose not to.
Well, they do still have a bank balance of 8,600 on Slight, so if this does go awry, then you always have that get out of jail free card in the next round. So maybe he's trying to stick with what works so far, and it certainly is working. Darty will find the opener, but hey, Cryptic and Freshy decide to chime back on the B end, but yeah, the aggression doesn't stop. Slight and Darty want to get antsy, but Junior punishes. All of a sudden, Darty is stranded here in the middle of the map, and he's trying his damnedest to stay alive, but he's getting pinched from both ends. Classy is there to chime in. 2v1, Bentley 19 HP, and he can't finish off Freshie. So Blue Jays will at least extend play for a round longer. And now, if we do want to kind of go through with that AWP, you can. 10K in the balance sheet for Slight.
I mean, there it is, right? It's coming out now. I understand the decision because they were playing so aggressively that they didn't necessarily feel the op would be necessary. Just the only reason I was thinking about it is that Bentley didn't have a gun and he had died previously, so I thought he might drop the op and then Slight can give him the M4. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It came out eventually here. 4 A1Ss and the op. Blue Jays already have that control into mid. Yeah, no one's here really challenging. And one thing that surprises me, we haven't seen that quick A push from the Blue Jays in towards, from A main, I should say. Because sometimes Boss is being pretty aggressive towards the mid hold, so you want to try and catch him off guard. Anyway, speaking of being caught off guard, Classia will take care of Slight. The op doesn't do anything in this round. Junior gets 2 more onto Bentley and B-Wills. That's at the B site, and all of a sudden, Blue Jays have a 5v2 and are flirting with double digits.
24 kills the good now for Junior. And he's showing that rifle prowess this time around on the T side. And they'll just congregate, meander their way into this B bomb site. It's just Darty left up in this serviceable anchor, but this one's a bridge too far to cross. Classia will get the final one, and it's just a 1-round game now. Really trying to close this distance, and look at that, John. Money snapped for the CT side.
I was just going to say exactly that, Paladin. I mean, money's gone. Boss have to go for an eco here, which means that unless they can pull off a crazy eco round strategy, we will be tied up at 11. And we can't forget that Boss are fighting for their lives right now here in the PrizePicks NA Revival Series number 7, because should they lose this map, they are done and out of competition. Perk up. Takes the space into Jag. Again, this is just the pistol upgrade. Slight has the Zeus. Where are you, Slight? He's an AMA. Hoping that he gets a close range fight, I'd imagine.
I don't
know. Yeah.
I think the Zeus works from that distance is the issue.
Yeah.
Oh! Oh, man.
He's got to get out of here. It won't even matter, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't.
See, there you go. Darty's gone. 5v3. Cryptic's on notice at 3 HP, so maybe he dies to one of these pistols, but I mean, as it stands, just if you're Blue Jays, send all the players in together and just go for a site at this stage. You know they don't have much.
Cryptic might give over this gun. 2H or 3 HP rather. And will have his back turned, and the headshot connects for B-Will. So that gun will be scooped up and I'd assume saved, but B-Will's searching for a little bit of kill reward on the tail end here. We'll have a couple kills racked up and just finds 1. So 11-11 go Blue Jays and Boss. And now it's that ever important swing round, John.
Yeah, I kind of would like to see that AK saved, if I'm being honest. Like, I understand you want to hunt the kill reward now, but that AK was too important. Maybe he figured he would have to fight anyway because there were just so many bodies left up for the Blue Jays, but I don't know. Could have been worthwhile to be a little more passive in his approach. As it stands now, like, you got 4 A1Ss in the AWP, but if you lose this round and it's 12-11 Blue Jays, your money is going to be in the dumpster. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah.
The round 23 call here from Cryptic.
Looks like
it's not a bad shout, man. Just walking up with Junior on the sight line on long side and hoping that you can win the fight here. And Laxi, he's been quiet in this map, but has found 2 magnificent openers. 3v3 now to ensue.
Yeah, bomb gonna be planted there. They know that the player's over in K. B-Will's still going to get that frag. He's been so good here on Ancient. Up to 21 frags now. Junior and Classy have their hands full. Junior hits a wicked shot into Darty. He knows that Slight's likely closing in on him as well. Good spam from B-Wills to keep Junior on notice here. Slight, the last one standing though, as Classia takes care of B-Wills, and Classia the last onto Slight. Everyone feels like they've had their moment in the spotlight here for the Blue Jays. This time, it's Laxi and Classia that are sharing it with 4 frags combined. Heading into round number 24, they've got their chance to end the map and the series.
A little nervy there in the post plant with the spams coming in from B-Wills just slightly off the mark there to dislodge the Opera in the back of the site, but Junior just manages to find the connection. But Laxi, he's the guy that they look towards, and you talk about the changes that they made in this roster and the risk to pick up a guy like Laxi who's unproven necessarily in more organized systems, but when called upon, he has found the impact necessary. We talked about him on Dust 2, and now we get to sing his praises here on Ancient as well. So far, this roster move has found its potential and its potential rewards as well.
All right, let's head into a round number 24, the last one of regulation. Boss need to win it to push it into overtime, but they don't have a good buy-up at all. 3 MP9s, 2 FAMASs, Util kind of overall, not much. Cryptic and Laxi have already taken the space in the mid. Boss can't challenge much because of the lack of Util. Maybe Ben Leeds slips through the smoke or slips through Red Room at the right time to get on a flank here. Look at how quickly Blue Jays have taken the space towards A, kind of similar to what they did on B previously. Darty waiting a tree with the MP9, could do a lot of damage here. He's got support from his teammate, but they get nothing! Nada! Zero! Zilch! Darty and Fruit Cup gone. Cryptic gets Ben Lee, and this one looks like it is in the books.
It's not much longer for Boss here. B-Wills finds a way to nab one back, but this 2v4 just feels insurmountable unless B-Wills can continue his rampage where it's put to an end. Classia forces it all onto Slight, and Junior will complete the 26 kill haul here on Ancient. Ends with 91 DAR. Everything you could ask for from your AWP player, and that's just a quintessential Blue Jays victory, top to bottom there, John. It just feels like every player, as you mentioned, in the spotlight at some point or another in this series, and quite a number of them reaching that PrizePicks check mark.
I love the confident calls from Cryptic at the end as well. I think you mentioned it, right? Just going for that straight hit towards the B site, keeping it simple, gaining the space immediately with the rifles, and having confidence in his riflers to get the frags. Laxi did it, and Classia as well in the second to last round. In the last round, they just get set up towards the A site very quickly, execute out. I'm surprised they don't lose a single body in that engagement out of A main. I mean, the setup was great coming through from Boss, and I think overall, speaking of Boss, they did a great job. I think that they played really well here on this second map, way better than Dust 2. We talked about the possibility of them looking strong on Ancient. They did, but they fell short right at the finish line because the Blue Jays just that little bit stronger on their T side, and they close it out. Everyone was great there. We're going to check out the numbers again because I think it's worth going back towards. Classia 1 frag away from surpassing his PrizePicks estimated frag total. Yeah, that one's tough. Cryptic, quite short, but still, he was good. I didn't necessarily have that many frags on Ancient, but I think in the moments that mattered, he was there delivering. Freshie and Junior, along with Laxi, were the stars of the show, though. Junior and Laxi in particular, on both Dust 2 and Ancient, looked absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those rosters that you look down the row and you can ask any player here to come up clutch and come up huge for them in terms of the kill department. And as you can see, with how many players reach that PrizePicks total, it's very exciting. It's very exciting at the prospect of this team if they can get all their ducks in a row. And meanwhile, on the other side of things for Boss, you had a couple of totals reached. I mean, you think about B-Wills reaching 29 kills, and that feels nice to have considering he's one of those roster positions that is still up in the air, still not confirmed just yet, but unfortunately didn't get that performance out of Fruit Cup that we were hoping. And even Slight just had a couple of moments of brilliance here and there to keep them afloat, but not enough to get the job done. There are signs of life for this Boss roster, but I think they're just going to have to get down to brass tacks, fix a lot of CT setups, figure out a T side playbook if they really want to continue with Ben Leet, and kind of go from there. But obviously the bones are obviously still exciting for me, at least personally.
No, I agree. I think that this boss roster could get very interesting. I am with you. I'm curious to see if Ben Leet is going to be the IGL of this squad moving forward, and we'll get our answer soon enough. I think there's going to be some sort of a official statement coming through from the boss players to either announce Ben's going to be there or another player to come through because they need an IGL. I mean, they're in desperate. They desperately require one. Maybe Walco. Walco, I think, is available as well, so they could call on him to join up with the roster. I don't know what the end result will be. It depends on Ben Leet, honestly, and if he wants to stay with the party astronauts or not. That being said, that will wrap up coverage today. We saw the bracket come through. Just so you guys know, Wildcard's up 12-3 right now. They look like they're well on their way to facing the Blue Jays in that semi-final. If you want to watch the rest of that, you can head over to Flom's channel. But for today, guys, we are signing off. Before we head off, though, we've got some thank yous to shout out. The NA Revival series is sponsored by PrizePicks. The best North American Counter-Strike players are competing right now, and you can win real money while watching them play. Join PrizePicks to get in on the action. It is super easy to get started. All you have to do is select 2 or more players and choose more or less on their stat projections to build your lineup. Then sit back and watch your lineup stats rack up. For a limited time, click the link on the panel below or use code REVIVAL when making an account and playing a $5 lineup to receive $50 whether you win or lose. It's a guaranteed win for all new PrizePicks users. Thank you again to PrizePicks for partnering with Complexity and Mythic League to host the NA Revival series. The PrizePicks NA Revival series is also partnered with Mythic League. Players are always asking for a premier solo queue matchmaking experience without cheaters, and Mythic League has been providing this for over 6 years, and is now free to play for FACEIT ranks 2 to 6 in the Silver Division. All players are required to have and use their microphone. The support staff is always available to help out in Discord for live matches, and Smurf accounts are banned swiftly. Additionally, there is $5,000 in monthly prizes available for subscribers throughout all divisions. Give Mythic League a try today and use code ML50 for 50% off your first subscription of 1, 3, or 6 months, guys. We are going to sign off. Paladin and I will be back again tomorrow for the semis and the grand finals. See you then.